Check. Okay, we're rolling.
Is that hit recording?
Yep.
It's already recording.
Perfect.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Untitled Car Project. I'm Rob Spring.
I am Grant Gonzalez.
And Jeremy Mold.
Cool. We're going to have a call-in guest today, Chris Compton. His background is Distinctive Industries. That's his day job. And then he also has a, what would you call it?
Organization.
Badass hobby?
Badass hobby?
Yeah.
No, well, he volunteers for ARMO, which is Aftermarket Restoration Market Organization. Kind of a mouthful. We're going to talk to him, figure out what he does and what he has to do with SEMA, because he is an insider at SEMA, so that's going to be pretty cool. Let's give him a call.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Mr. Krabs.
Oh, I can hear that.
That is loud.
Yeah.
See, and I can't. It's not that loud on
Look at the thing.
It's from
Hello.
I see it.
Hey, Chris, this is Rob Spring. How are you?
I'm doing good, Rob. How are you?
I am doing very well. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time as well. We're rolling right now on Untitled Car Project. I'm here with my buddy Grant
Hello.
and my buddy Jeremy.
Hey, Grant.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Good. Hey, thanks again. I guess we're just going to jump right into it, Chris. I've got a lot of questions about what you do, actually.
Okay.
It all seems pretty darn interesting. So, excuse me. You are, let me see if I get this right, National Sales for Distinctive Industries, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That would be correct. I am the national sales manager, and I wear lots of different hats in that position.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I did look up Distinctive Industries, kind of checking on the background, see what you do. It looks a lot like majority interior renovate. How would you say that? I wanted to say renovation, but that's not really correct.
Factory replacement interior products is the majority of what we manufacture, as well as some replacement assembled seats, bench, and bucket seat assemblies.
Gotcha. It looks really good, the stuff that I saw. Now, Distinctive Industries does not sell direct to consumer. Is that correct?
That would be absolutely correct.
Okay. So you have a dealer network and that kind of stuff probably across the country that you deal with and get your products out there that way?
Yes, we have a dealer network that reaches literally worldwide, as far away as Australia and as close as right in this probably the same town or around where you live, and that can be found on our website as well. So I mean, we have a huge network of large dealers all the way down to small shops that can actually put it in your vehicle for you. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
That's good to know because I've got a couple restoration projects of my own, so I'll be I'll be looking for that stuff eventually.
Well,
So, Chris, tell me about your car background. Like, did you get into cars early as a kid and just kind of eventually it spawned into something you wanted to do as a career?
yeah, that's basically how it worked out for me. I grew up with a father that was he was a hot rodder, muscle car, Tri-5 guy, Camaro Chevelle guy. And at one point in time when I was a kid, my mom and my dad both had 67 Chevelles sitting in the yard.
Oh, wow.
And one was a big block 4-speed and one was a red Malibu with 327.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that's what I grew up with. And it just went from that to I started working at a parts store when I was 17.
Yeah.
It was a Pep Boys, believe it or not.
Ah.
And worked there for a few years through high school and early college. And then I went through and got an auto mechanics degree at a 2-year technical school in our town. And I just decided that I didn't want to turn wrenches for a living. I really liked the parts side. I liked the technical side. And it just kind of went from there. I worked at a Camaro shop, just sold 67, 8, 9 Camaro parts for 12 years and ran the sales department and everything there. And
Oh, nice.
That's cool.
that actually worked in 17 years. And then I worked for another Camaro shop for another 5. And then I was lucky enough to fall into the Distinctive Industry shop, which has been probably a blessing for me in my life and my family.
Oh, that's awesome. No, that's really cool. Good backstory. So out of all those years of selling Camaro parts and that kind of stuff. Did you pick up the bug for doing your own projects?
Oh, buddy, that's like asking a preacher does he carry a Bible.
There you go. There you go. Tell us about your projects. Let's hear that.
So I've had a lot of different projects. I've got a wide variety flavor of vehicles that I like, but
That's always good to have.
in my garage is a 1966 Chevelle, just a Malibu that I've converted to a bucket seat, console, 4-speed. It is a small block still, but it will probably have a big block next year. I've already got one. I had an LS. I had a 6-liter LS LQ4 to go in it, and totally changed my mind and said that's not really for me. I like the originality, at least the look. But that's kind of where I'm at on that one. And then I just bought an off the wall project about 3 weeks ago. A 2004 Jeep Rubicon.
Oh, wow.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
What are you going to do with that? Just make it an off-road monster or Jurassic Park replica or what?
No, so if it's the Jurassic Park replica, it'd be a YJ, the square head like nobody ever wants. But I really bought it for my wife because she's always wanted a Jeep, and I've always had hot rods and built hot rods. I figured, what the heck, we'll get her a Jeep. So I bought her a Rubicon because of all the cool things that come with a Rubicon.
Yeah.
And then I bought an automatic so she could drive it.
No.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's always good to keep the wife
I put
happy.
a 3 last week and 33 1250. So, we're looking for some dirt to get into this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's really cool. You got any other projects on the horizon? I mean, you got a Jeep and a Malibu. I mean, seems like you've only got 2. Every project car guy's got to have at least 5, right?
I don't have room for 5, unfortunately. I built onto my shop. My shop's only about 1,000 square feet. So if it was, a little bit bigger, I got too much junk.
Don't we all?
I'm a car guy, the epitome, and slash hoarder. So I mean, it's one of those things that my shop has a multitude of parts where you could build a Camaro or a Chevelle. I actually got parts you could build an old Ford tractor with.
Oh,
so I mean, it's a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, they're all projects, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They're never ending.
Never ending.
Yeah.
Well, like I used to tell my customers, they do end the day you sell it.
Well, that's true. I mean, and isn't that when you're not supposed to finish a project, because once it's finished, you end up selling it.
Well, that's a fact. For me personally, the fun is all about the chase and looking for that part that you can't find, or trying to find that elusive car that you don't think you would ever own in your life. Or I built a Model A one time, but it was a hot rod Model A. It had a 383 stroke block and all this things to it, but I didn't go anywhere. I did a nostalgic build on it, so the whole time I'm thinking, what kind of cool piece could I put on it, or what other car piece could I make it look good on this car? And I was a pretty deep eBay hunter at that point in time. So.
Oh yeah, boy, I don't blame you. That sometimes the hunt is just as fun as actually putting it together.
Yeah, I get that bug when, especially, I work on more unique style cars. I've got a 74 Fiat X19, which is a single year, kind of like a split window Corvette. And so finding just the rare, unique one-off parts for that, it's like 90% of that car, trying to restore it.
Yeah, it's and the problem is a lot of times when you find those things, when you're restoring that car that is, they didn't make, it was very low production numbers.
Yep.
You want to do it exactly the way it's supposed to be done. So that makes it even tougher.
That's actually, when I bought that car originally, because in Oregon, 74 and back, you're allowed to do anything without putting it through smog. So I originally bought that car because I was going to put a V12 in it and chop it and do all sorts of things. And then when I found out how rare it was, I was like, I can't do that. That's not okay. So I was like, I will fully restore this and get it back to, to worthiness.
Yeah, I completely understand. I've been in those, when I was in the Camaro world, we had a lot of original cars, some unrestored. We had an unrestored 69 Camaro that only had 25,000 original miles.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
there's a lot of things and we had an unrestored 69Z that had 35,000 original miles on. So, I mean, we had some super rare stuff. 67 Camaro pace cars. I mean, there was some really rare things that you wouldn't you want to make sure you have the right nuts and bolts, and
Would cars like that, would they mainly just be cars that were forgotten like in barns, or were they just like people like really cared and just stowed them away and be like, we need to keep this as original and low mileage as possible?
Two of them were stowed away. One was actually a full rest. Well, our owner had 26 different first-gen Camaros when he sold our company.
Dang.
And at any point in stage of a restoration to a fully done car. I mean, look, when I started in the Camaro world, it was in 93. So if that tells you anything, that's before anybody knew what Pro Touring or Resto Mod or anything like that.
Yeah.
What you were doing was you're taking straight sixes out and putting small blocks and big blocks in it. That was the Resto Mod in those days.
Sure.
So, yeah. And it's pretty neat stuff. But, I've been involved in a lot of crazy stuff when it comes to that. I mean, we had the number one ZL1 engine one time. We had an NOS 67 Camaro 302 from Smokey Unick's garage when he died. So, I mean, there was some crazy stuff in our collection.
Wow. Some really rare stuff. Yeah. So what was the beginning of your 66 Malibu restoration? Like, did you have that car from when you were young, or did you hunt for that car?
So when I was a kid in high school, my main car was a 65 Malibu. It kind of went through, but I found this 66. This is a funny story. I found this 66 5 years ago, almost to the day, on Craigslist.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and you don't find those cars on Craigslist anymore. And I drove to North Carolina with my dad to buy this car. I mean, I'm in my 50s, but I take my dad with me no matter what. It's just he's smart. I took him with me, and he was on the premise that we were buying the car to resell. And when I got there and saw the car, I said, I'm buying this car, and we're not reselling it. And we pushed it on a trailer. Yeah. And because the older gentleman that I purchased it from, he had cancer, and he'd had the car since 1999, believe it or not.
Wow.
It was painted in 2000. It still has the same paint on it when he painted it in 2000. And the car it's a very nice driver. And I came home and just brought it up to, disc brake conversions, posi rear, box control arms, just things to bring it up and put here and things like that. But it's been a fun project. My family is not real big into old cars. Unfortunately, I have a son and a daughter, and they're not into the cars like I am. But it's my get away from the wife. So
get out there, have some time with the car.
I gotta ask, when you bought that Malibu, because you said you originally went to buy it to resell it. What was when you saw the car? What was the moment, or what was the deciding factor? Like, no, this is for me. Was it just seeing it, or was there something special about it? Like, what was that factor?
It was the color.
It was the color.
Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but
it doesn't sound crazy at all.
The 65 Chevelle that I had when I was 17 through when I restored that car when I was 17, I drove that car every day for 7 years with four-wheel drum brakes and single pipe master cylinder and things like that. And my dad and I painted that car in our garage, and we painted it Marina blue. And this 66 Chevelle is Marina blue. When I saw that, I said, yeah, this is probably one that I'm going to keep for a long time.
Yeah.
So I typically turn them over about every 3 to 5 years. My wife always, every time I bring one home, she says, is this the one we're keeping? I said, until the next one.
That's pretty valid.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Are you on the hunt for anything now?
I'm really not. I'm trying to get a big block I'm trying to get the big block going for the 66. And at the moment, I'm just, I'm living a dream, guys. We see a lot of vehicles. I do a lot of swap meets, and a lot of car shows, and a lot of trade events. See a lot of people and kind of live through. Yeah,
being able to see everybody's projects and all their upgrades and their modifications, it's pretty fun to be able to live through them without having to spend the money for it.
Yeah,
that's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad.
And I haven't bought another car because my dad is in his late mid 70s, and we've been working on a Tri-5. He's got probably half a dozen cars, and he's got a Tri-5 we've been working on for probably 8 months, trying to get an engine right for it. And it's just, he can't do anything, and I have to do the majority of the work, which I don't have a problem with. Yeah. But and I only have limited time. So yeah, that's a story for another day, I'm assuming. So
Okay.
Sure. No, that's super good. I love that your background is in, hot rods and project cars and all that stuff. That's where we're at too. We all kind of, I don't know. That's where our meeting place is, right? We all get to talk about cars and what we love.
that's what makes us car guys. I mean, car guys. I met a guy one time, and he said that he knew a guy that was really rich, and he had a huge car collection. And he said, "Man, he's a real car guy." I said, "Well, he might be able to buy whatever he wants whenever he wants, but that doesn't necessarily make him a real car guy."
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just my opinion. Maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong, but that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody's a little bit different in that way. So, can you tell me about ARMO? So, the Aftermarket Restoration Market Organization. What exactly is that?
So ARMO is the restoration arm of SEMA, is what we like to refer to it. SEMA has all these different councils over different segments of the automotive industry, and ARMO is the restoration side of SEMA. So what ARMO does is we work with our member companies to try to educate them and keep them up to date on things that are going on in the government, or updates on how the market is moving or shifting. A good example is many years ago when ARMO was formed, it was formed around the licensing program. If you guys are familiar with GM and Ford, how they had their licensing of their classic logos on, say, Mustangs or Camaro.
Okay.
So that type of thing is what we're really there for, as well as, we offer a lot of things for our member companies. We have a hot product showcase at Spring Carlisle every year, and we allow all our member companies to enter up to 4 items into this. And this is typically brand new to market items.
Cool.
Brand new to market product, whether it's a gauge or a seat or a set of weather stripping or a body panel. Distinctive Industries will put a seat in or some upholstery or door panels, and you might have Auto Metal Direct have one year they had a full bed floor for a Chevy truck out there. So you'll see, and we have a pretty large booth, and we have all the participants of Carlisle. They'll come in and take a look, and then we'll promote it on our website, and we'll pick awards and best interior product or best sheet metal product, whatever the case is. And then we also have a big banquet at SEMA. If you guys are coming out of SEMA, you should come to our banquet tonight, and we'll give out all these awards. And ARMO's got a rich history of automotive in the restoration aftermarket. It's been around. It's been a notable community in the restoration market for quite a while. I wouldn't be shy to say 30 years or better. Yeah. So it's been around for quite some time.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that, just to summarize, I guess a little bit. So you're kind of giving your members a platform to showcase their new products. That's one of the things that we do. Right.
Yes, that is one of the things that we offer. And we work with SEMA. So SEMA has like a political action committee. Work with them to educate our member companies on anything that would affect them that's coming up through the government, and how we are working with SEMA to fight that with the government. So there's things like that. I'm not trying to get it political on this by any means,
but
that's fine.
We offer to our member companies.
Yeah. No, I think it's important to make sure that everybody's aware of what's happening, whether that's something on the ballot that we need to know about, or, I can't, drawing a blank here, but everybody's kind of got to know.
Has there been any big milestones that ARMO's made in that regard for with like government involvement or anything like that? Like anything that you could be like, this was one big thing we did and we made this change?
So the majority of the milestones that are done are really handled straight through SEMA.
Okay.
So I can't tell you within the past, I want to say within the past 6 to 8 months, the state of California had passed a law where I can't remember what portion of California, but there was a beach they closed down where you couldn't drive your buggies, your two wheelers, your four wheelers, or any kind of off road equipment on it.
Mhm.
And SEMA took them to court and sued the government, and we won. So now the legislation was changed where the general public is able to get back out there into those dunes and ride like before. So
Nice.
that's a perfect example.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really good.
Yeah.
So that kind of answers my next thought was, how does the general consumer benefit from the organization? So they benefit in the ways of government interaction. Are there other things that they benefit from? I suppose by supporting your member or your member companies or that kind of thing. Basically the general consumer.
As a public right now, you can get into the SEMA show on Fridays if you buy a pass.
Oh, yeah?
Just for Friday. So the Fridays, which they were never allowed to do that up until 2 years ago.
Oh.
Which it's good for the public to expose themselves to that, but one day is not near enough time. So just saying.
Yeah. We keep hearing that. None of us in this room have actually been to SEMA before, and we know it's going to be a big intake going there for the first time.
Yeah,
first couple days.
Exhausting, I'm sure.
It's information overload.
Yeah, I'll bet it is. So how deep is your involvement? Are you a chairperson, a council person? How does that work for you?
So last year, 2 years ago, I became a council member, and then this year I ran for chair-elect, and I won the vote. So I'm the new chair-elect for ARMO. Right now, chair-elect is basically like a vice president.
Okay.
And Joanna Shear, she's the president, CEO of Steel Rubber Products. Mm-hmm. She's our chair, our seated chair at the moment. And I'm sitting back, just trying to get a feel for everything and how it's supposed to run and what my participation is at this point. So within about a year and a half, I'll take over as the chair, and that'll be all on me at that point. So
wow,
make some food. Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on it so far? Like, that seems like a really big position. Mm-hmm. I mean, being involved with the SEMA and everything.
It is. You have a lot of responsibilities, decision making, things like that for ARMO. So how it works is typically you have 2 years as chair-elect, 2 years as chair, and then you have 2 years what they call IPC, meaning immediate past chair. So you have 6 years of involvement where you're there. I mean, it's a you have to be dedicated to that. It's 6 years of dedication. Mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with it because I have been involved on the outside looking in to ARMO for quite a while. I've helped as a volunteer. Mm-hmm. I've got some really good friends that have been on the select committee, some really close friends and confidants as well. But it's you have to just step back and read it and work for SEMA and ARMO as you feel like it needs to be directed.
Interesting. How much of your time does that actually require, if you don't mind me asking, because you've got a full-time job also. So that seems like a second full-time job. Mm-hmm.
It's really not as full-time as you think it is. Okay. It's really a volunteer basis. Mm-hmm. So like this week, we had a 1 hour meeting this morning. That is 1 hour this week. Mm-hmm. You get emails pretty consistent. It's like a friend of mine used to say, it's like catch and release. You read it, you file it away. But for the most part, the largest majority of it is you have a huge time suck at SEMA. That takes a lot of your time. And so also we have a few travel arrangements that we have to do for leadership summits and long-range planning meetings. It's not as bad. That's the guys will say, I don't run because it takes up so much time. And honestly, it takes as much time as you want to dedicate to it. So.
Gotcha.
What made you jump from being a volunteer to make the decision to run for chair?
somebody's got to do it, bro.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's how I feel about it. Somebody's got to do it, and I felt like that it was my time to do it. So
Nice.
Well, that's good. Yeah, if somebody does have to do it. So what for the SEMA convention itself, do you have any involvement in putting anything together for that?
So we have an ARMO booth in Hot Rod Alley. ARMO and HRIA. HRIA is the hot rod arm, essentially, of SEMA. And ARMO and HRIA will share a booth at SEMA. And then we'll have cars. We'll have display cars, unveil cars. Last year we had the Ring. I'm sure you've heard of Ring Brothers before. So Ring Brothers had a car in the booth. We've had several. This year we'll have a McLaren, and we'll have a 57 Chevy Nomad, and we'll have a Nissan Skyline from the 80s.
Well, nice. That's cool.
So I'm sorry, I think it's a 93, but it's still a neat looking car, beautiful car.
Yeah. 2
cars coming from out of the country, and then the other one was the original, one of the GM original show cars of the Nomad. So it was one of the early 57s that were made. And it's the first fuel injected Nomad ever made. So that's what we have that booth, and then also ARMO has the banquet that happens Tuesday night. But for me, I also have Distinctive Industries, and we have a booth as well in the restoration marketplace. So that's a huge responsibility for me and my company as well.
Yeah, you'll find yourself bouncing back and forth, I would imagine, a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, that's cool. We'll have to look you up when we're down there. As far as the companies that you work for, or the outside organizations, do you have any insights on what we should be looking for innovations in the next year?
So right now, most of our companies are working on, well, you know what's hot in our market right now, right?
Tell me.
Trucks.
Yep.
Okay.
Truck. So everything to do with a truck right now. That everybody, if they're not doing trucks, they're working on doing trucks. That's been the hot ticket for the last 3 to 5 years, maybe even longer.
Okay.
We're guilty of that as well. We're working on some truck interior, and a lot of those things that you see in our market right now on the restoration side is, everything is really turned towards the Resto Mod or Pro Tour, if you want to say it.
Yeah.
And it's really got a lot to do with pre-assembled. Take it out of the box, put it in the car. Less work for end user. We started making some assembled seats that literally you just take it out of the box, bolt a bracket to it, it goes right into the truck.
I like that.
That's cool.
That's what these guys are really looking for right now is simplicity, because not everybody has, they don't have 10 hours a week to work on or dedicate to a vehicle, and they want to drive it. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of Ford cars out there right now, believe it or not. So
Yeah. I like to hear that, because that's what I want to do, is take it out of the box and bolt it in. I mean, there's a certain amount of fiddling that I don't mind doing, but man, if I can get a product that's ready to go, that's what I'm looking for.
And Rob's working on a truck right now.
I am.
Yes.
Yep. I got a C25 is actually what it is, a GMC, but that'll be one of my projects.
what year is?
67.
Oh, I love that's my favorite. I like the grill. No marker lights. I like the 67 body style.
Yep. I like the grill of that too. That really kind of sold me on it. The GMC, because it's got the dual headlights instead of the single like the Chevy does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, double headlight on GMCs. That's that's the main reason guys go to GMCs is because of the grill.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It's pretty cool. How about interesting restoration products? I mean, innovations where you're taking it out of the box, people are giving us more complete product, I guess, would be a good way to say it. But what about, is there any innovation, especially in the truck side of building? Like, what are we looking for that's new?
So I know some guy. I mean, for my company, it's all about the vinyl products. So seats, headliners, door panels, things like that. But I do know some guys that are out there. There's a small shop in North Carolina. He actually makes a pre-assembled 73 to 87 Chevy truck door panel that nobody else does. And he actually paints them the original matching colors.
Wow.
And pretty innovative, where he takes all the products from all these manufacturers and he assembles it and ships it out. It's USA One Industries, Randy over there. He's a super great guy, but they do some pretty neat stuff right there. And it's just a small shop in nowhere, North Carolina. I mean, just the middle of nothing, but it's pretty funny. But
found himself a little market, though. That's pretty awesome.
These guys, so I mean, they're classic instruments, and those guys are making gauge packs. You just take them out, bolt it right to your factory cluster, and just install it around the car. I mean, it's literally that's
yeah. That doesn't get any better than that. That sounds awesome.
That's a time saver.
Yeah, a huge time saver.
Yeah.
What about tools for the restoration guy, and does this trickle down to the backyard enthusiast, the guy that's doing it in his own shop?
Most of it does trickle down, but as far as tools go, I don't really have enough involvement with that to make a judgment or recommendation on what's coming out. There's a lot of, I'll tell you from personal experience. I mean, if guys don't have a lift, they need to think about that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Working on these old junky cars. I mean, it's, that makes life so much easier. But as far as new tools and new innovations, I'm not your Snap-on rep, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. Just thought maybe you'd seen something out there that the rest of us are in the dark on still. So
you can see a lot of that SEMA. So when you go to the North Hall, you'll see a lot of that new innovative stuff. You guys will be exposed to some really cool things there.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking to spend a lot of my time with. I like doing a lot of wrenching, and I do it for as a career, but also anyways. But yeah, finding a bunch of tools and figuring out what's going to be the best and what to recommend to our listeners and as well as my friends, I'm super excited for.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's as first timers to the show, like that's a great thing for us to go look for. What else? What other kind of recommendations would you have for us?
As far as going to the show?
Yep.
Have you been to Las Vegas before?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been to the Las Vegas Convention Center before?
Yes.
Okay.
I went for the Con Expo a couple years ago.
That's the Heavy Equipment Expo?
Yep.
Okay. So did you ride the Tesla underground tunnels?
No.
Yeah, you need to do that. It takes you from one side. It's only at the Las Vegas Convention Center, and it costs $1.50, $2, something like that. It's not very expensive, and but it cuts your time literally in half from walking versus you. It's almost like a Tesla subway underneath the pavement.
Well, that's something else to look forward to.
Buy a day pass.
Yeah,
run a day pass. Boom, you're right to the other side, literally within 15 minutes.
Wow,
and it's like a 30-minute walk.
Oh, okay.
As far as what you should do,
yeah.
You need to, if you haven't already, you should download the SEMA app.
Yep, I've done that.
So download the SEMA app, figure out, and you can actually set a schedule, and you can pick locations, and there's times of reveals, there's times when, movie stars and the popular people, like Chip Foose and Ken Diggett, you'll be able to see those guys when they're at certain booths doing reveals and signings and autographs and so forth. That's a pretty cool thing. I do that every year just because I like to see what all's going on. And I also have vendors and other customers I need to see that have booths, so I need to set up times with them. If you are a SEMA member, SEMA has a lounge as well upstairs. You can go upstairs and just hang out in the lounge and eat lunch, and it's pretty relaxing. But there's so much to do. Wheels and tires, you can probably get lost in a day in wheels and tires. A buddy of mine used to call it the dance club just because of the loud music and all the women dancing. But it's wild over there. North Hall, Central Hall, that's really where all your action is really at that you guys are looking for, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, we're going to get lost for days. And
especially me, I'm going to be running around like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yes, you will. I remember the first year I went, I was there for 4 days. I really only walked through SEMA focused for probably 2 of those 4. So it's we're gentlemen with probably born with ADD, and every corner is a new bright color. So
and the eyes gloss over after a while, and you've just kind of lost yourself in the whole thing.
Yeah.
But Westgate's a great hotel to stay at, just because it's a walk across the parking lot to the convention center. That's a great place to be as well.
Okay.
But also they're doing major construction out in front of the convention center. So that's going to hinder and push a lot of things to the back of the parking lot.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Well, those are some great points. Let's move on to personal cars. I wanted to know from you if you have some favorite cars on your bucket list. Like, if money's no object, what cars would you put in your garage?
So my flavor palette is mainly old cars and muscle car realm. So probably a car that I will never be able to get my hands on, but I really like to have would probably be a 1970 Plymouth Superbird with a Hemi.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah. Either that or Daytona, one of the two. So Dodge Daytona or Superbird. But
Nice.
And then, other than that, if I had to pick one more, it's probably going to be a 69 Camaro ZL1.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome.
All aluminum. I'm not the Italian guy for the most part. I'm not looking for supercars. I'm for muscle cars with a heck of a lot of power. So that's
that's great. Not everybody has the same flavor, and that's what we like about it, right? Everybody has a different idea of what they want and what makes them excited about cars.
That's what makes our market so much fun. So much.
Yep.
Chris, when it comes to classic cars, do you like them more they're completely all original, or do you like resto mods?
I like a little bit of both. It's just according to how wild you go with the resto mod. I'm not a huge let's just change it all. I like a fairly original looking inside, but I do like a modern drivetrain sometimes, and I do like upgraded suspension and brakes. I'm a big upgrade suspension and brakes guy, even if you're running a stock small block with a power glide.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that makes a world to me. It took me personal experience to learn that, wow, a big fat sway bar sure can make a heck of a lot of difference.
Do you have any, when it comes to resto mod, do you think there's a mod that doesn't fit with a classic car? Whether that's someone trying to fit traction control on that, or changing the styling that of it completely different than what it looked like originally, or interior swaps to, like, say, a modern interior. Like, what's kind of your thoughts? Do you think it's like when you're taking a classic too far?
You know what I don't really like is I don't like it when, and it's just my personal preference, I don't like it when they try to take a new car and make it and put old body panels on it. Like when they take a 4th gen Camaro and turn it into a 69 Camaro. I don't like that. I don't think it looks good. I think you lose the originality, not necessarily originality, but maybe more of the original classic look of the car. When you get into some body mods, some things are cool, but then again, some things can go crazy. And what really I don't like the most is when you put an electric engine in a classic car. I can't stand that.
Yeah.
Amen.
Like, I saw a Shelby Cobra recently with one at the Portland Auto Show, and I understand you're making it quick, but it kind of feels like it defeats the purpose of it, because big block in a small weight car instead of putting a heavy battery into it,
What does it cost to put that electric motor in there? 40, 60,000?
Something like that.
And then you devalue the car?
Yep.
I mean, are you going to buy it? I'm not.
No.
I mean, it's opinion.
Yeah, it's crazy.
SEMA actually has a whole, last year they had a complete section with classic cars that had modern electric engines in them.
Like a whole section?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll walk through it quickly.
Yeah. Literally next to the new product showcase.
Yeah, I remember seeing that a little bit from reviewing, last year after SEMA. I kind of looked through some stuff and I saw some of that and I was like, oh, that's too bad. I'm not a fan of it. I know people are going to do it, but doesn't mean I have to like it. I guess. That's all right.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to ask, Chris, what's your thoughts on replica cars and like the replica car industry in terms of for parts as well as kits and stuff?
You mean like a Cobra replica?
Cobra replica, or like how they have those Volkswagen replicas where you put on like a GT body or like a Countach on a Fiero body, or the MR2s that are Ferraris, something like that, or it could be like a full, like I said, a Cobra, or like those old Jaguar kit cars they make as well. They're fully kits.
So my thought on that, I don't mind the Cobra kit cars.
Mm-hmm.
I actually would like to have a Factory 5 Cobra kit car. I think they're kind of neat.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as take a Fiero and stick a Ferrari body on it, I'm not a huge fan of that by any means. I think but I think it's a way to recycle a car, possibly. I mean, that's another outlook at it. And until you brought this up, I haven't really thought much about that. But it is a way to recycle because back in the old day, when I was a kid, people were taking Bradleys and they were doing Volkswagen conversions, or putting a Volkswagen engine in it, things like that. You saw a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. No, I'm not a huge fan of it. But I do like the Cobra replicas, and they started building many years ago all new first gen Camaro bodies, all new early Mustang bodies. They build new Chevy truck. They build brand new bodies, 67 to 72 Chevy trucks. They actually build the 48 to 53 Chevy truck bodies. They do a lot of they do the Bronco bodies, brand new, 66 to 77.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they've been doing that for years. So you look up a company called Gateway Bronco. They can build you a Bronco however you want it. Starting price $175,000.
Wow,
that's really cool.
Did you have any experience with the remanufactured Camaros? Curious about that.
Yeah, sold several of the bodies.
Yeah.
The early ones in the market were trash.
Okay.
And I'm just being blunt because they were really horrible. You're selling these bodies for, back in the early 2000s when this came out, there was a gentleman in the U.S. that was putting the Taiwanese sheet metal together with fixtures. And the problem was the early ones that came out, they were so bad that you would receive the body without doors or trunk lid. Basically, anything that would be bolted to the body, you did not receive that. You had to buy that and then put it on yourself. So when our customers was putting doors and trunk lids on, and they go to close the door and the trunk lid, they were hitting the quarter pounds before they would close.
Yeah,
so it was pretty bad.
Yeah,
out there now is a totally different. So they took everything to Taiwan. I talked to the gentleman that actually ran the factory in Taiwan, and many years ago they had their own jigs built. They actually shipped over several different bodies of first-gen Camaros, and they built jigs off of it, and it just became better. It's not GM by any means, but it was better, and they started moving them. Moving them really good. They raised the price, and they were moving them pretty good.
Huh.
So.
Well, I'd never really talked to anybody that's had experience with them. I knew that stuff was out there, but mixed reviews, I guess, is kind of what I've heard. Some people say they're junk, and some are like, well, it's not so bad for what you get or what you pay, that kind of stuff. I guess it just depends on what quality they're used to installing.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to look at what you currently have versus what your end product to be. That's what it works out to be. That's what I always told my customers. But, like the 66 to 77 Bronco body, they actually assembled that in Charlotte, North Carolina, or Concord, North Carolina. Dennis Carpenter. They have a little mini factory right there where they put those things together. And they actually make 4-door old Bronco bodies as well.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that sounds cool.
There's some neat stuff out there, guys. You'll see a lot of cool stuff when you go to SEMA. You'll see trucks 2 stories in the air, and just stuff that's totally undrivable. But it's.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Did you have something else?
I was going to ask, so back to distinctive industries. So you guys do interior, like Rob was saying, correct? Of different styles. How does the process go? Like if, just say getting a new another vehicle in line that you guys haven't worked with before, is there a process on that? And be like, well, we found our customers are looking for a specific GMC that we don't have, and we taking a survey and found out this many people want it, and we're going to start collecting data and say, okay, now we're going to start making parts for this truck, for example.
It's really more like a what does it cost to manufacture this product? If it's cut and sew upholstery or a basic door panel that's just sewn together, that's not a problem. But then when you have to dive into heat seal, what they call RF tooling, so that's where you get all your heat sealed defined lines in your door panels and in your center inserts in your seats. When you have to start manufacturing tooling, we have to look at the cost of that, and do we have original products to pattern from? How big is the patterning department? There's a lot of things that go into that, but we just finished up 69 Chevy truck seat, scroll work seat upholstery 3-4 months ago, and that's something that's been out in the market for many years, but it seems like some of these guys are just not manufacturing in a timely fashion. So you have to fight the market sometimes, or you have to break open the market. And it's really got to do with, is juice worth the squeeze? Is the how many vehicles are still out there? Truck stuff, no brainer at all. You start getting into some of the weird things like a Mustang 2, for example. No. You never want to dive into that market because it's really never going to take off unless that's the only one left on the face of the earth.
How do you determine those markets? And like I remember reading, I think it was about up till 5 years ago plus, people were saying the new industry was going to be 90s muscle cars. We're going to be the next big market. And then we had like the Porsche bubble, for example, coming up, and people were looking at restoring those. Like, is there trends that you follow that way, or is it like, how is that involvement?
Yes. So a lot of times, well, first of all, was there really ever a 90s muscle car?
That's Terminator.
That's kind of funny, right? That's.
I think the Ford Lightning. I think it was the fastest Ford production car of like 91 or something like that.
I'm gonna just stay right now. I'm arguing for the Viper. Damn it.
Yeah. Right.
Well, that's a car, man. I'm a Viper fan. I'm not a Chrysler fan for the most part, but I think Vipers are pretty neat. They really hit a home run when they went with the GTS Coupe. I mean, that was a pretty neat. But as far as that goes, like I said, I do a lot of events, trade shows. I see what's out there, and I talk to a lot of customers. We've got, I've got 300-400 different vendors that we deal with. So my customer service department will keep a running log of people that ask for a product that we don't have in stock, and then we'll survey that log, review that, see where it's at. If we're getting a lot of questions for the same thing, at some point I'll just ask the customer, hey, do you have a sample we can pattern from? And if they say yeah, and we get it, and we feel like we can manufacture that, absolutely, we'll go for it. Sometimes we'll roll the dice. Like we made all the Ford Maverick door panels at one point in time, and they did pretty good for a while. They slowed down, but it's sometimes you got to roll the dice on things, and it's sometimes it's a hunch, gut feeling. I know you don't want to spend people's money on gut feelings, but sometimes those gut feelings really pay off.
Yeah.
And sometimes it hits a niche market too.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And you got to get it out there in front of people. You broadcast it, you make a sample and you broadcast it on Facebook platform, or you debut it at SEMA, for example. You debut a product out there, and you kind of see how people receive the product more than it is. Sometimes it's more about how they receive it than it is difficulty of manufacturing at that point.
So when you take a product, a new offering, say, of an interior product to SEMA, do you often see it? Do you see those results right away? Is it a slow burn? Does it take a minute, or how does that play out for you?
It can be both. It can be both. I've seen it where it's a slow burn, but I've also seen it. So we came out with this CTX 60-inch bench seat last year, and we just finished it up maybe 3 weeks before SEMA. And by the time I got it to SEMA and got it in front of people, by this SEMA, I will have already sold over 400 of those seats.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes off like wildfire. It's really according to about how you market it, who you get it in front of, who takes it first. If it's a big company that takes it first and they're willing to market your product for you, oh wow, it'll take off. But if it's stock restoration interior and it's a so-so market, it's going to be a slow burn. Absolutely.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interior's funny, man. Interior's funny. So.
Have you guys ever designed any products that you had big hypes for and then it just didn't take off? And then if it didn't, how'd you guys recuperate from that? Did you start marketing that heavily or just kind of just push and move on to the next product?
So, yeah, that does happen from time to time. I feel like some of the Maverick things that we made, the upholstery that we made for that, it kind of fell flat. The good side to it is a lot of this product that we manufacture, a lot of these colors and vinyls, they interchange in other year ranges of other products. So what we'll do is we just go on to the next thing, and so we try not to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars on any one item. So it's not detrimental to the company over time, but we manufacture and break it down by colors. We make about 20,000 different SKU numbers. So there's enough there that if if one line's not making projections, other lines will make up for it in some cases.
Wow, that's quite a few SKU numbers. And I got to say, though, like you've referenced the Maverick a few times. What was the deciding factor on going with the Maverick? Because that doesn't feel like a lot of collectors or restoration people are going after that car. I get that it's kind of rare, but it doesn't, I don't know. What was the decider on that one?
So we had some Maverick clubs approach us saying that all their members they needed new panels. Nobody made any product for it. And at the same time, some of the sheet metal manufacturers were starting to make sheet metal products for it, bumpers, hoods, fenders, things like that. Yep. So we kind of saw the market trying to, expand into the Maverick market. Yep. And it's there. I mean, it is definitely the slow burn. Yep. But there's still a market for that, honestly. And the 70 to 72 smaller, they call them the thin bumper cars, grabbers, the early grabber models that came with 302s in them. Those are pretty popular. Yeah. And they did make a lot of Mavericks, honestly.
Yeah, I was just curious about the numbers of that car. I'm not sure how many were actually produced, but I could see that car, especially getting further away from the 70s as we are, 50 plus years. I could see it coming back around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another thing, when I came on with Distinctive Industries, they were a heavy Ford company. So we manufactured everything you think of from 65 to 73 Mustang. And that's our big market because Ford made millions and millions of cars.
Yeah.
We weren't as heavy on the GM side. So and I'm a GM guy, if you didn't know. And we came in and I told them, I just talked to our ownership and I said, hey, if you want a faster moving product other than a Mustang, we need to get heavier into second gen Camaros. We need to go deeper on Chevelles. We need to start doing more Nova stuff. And we did. And that really had nothing to do with numbers. That was just from my prior experience. And most of that stuff, I would say probably a good 80% of that really took off and made a huge cash flow influx for us.
I would bet even to this day, I mean, all of those models they're big in the hot rod scene. All the restoration, every one of those Novas, Chevelles, pretty big deal. I don't recall seeing any Corvette stuff on your website, though.
No, that's not a market that we delved into. And the main reason is because one thing all your Corvettes have in common is leather interior.
Yeah.
And Distinctive Industries is a vinyl company.
Yeah. What about faux leather?
We do sell
stuff.
We manufacture some leatherette material, but for the most part, it's really just mostly vinyl.
Gotcha.
Mostly.
Gotcha.
How come is that? Is it just because leather is just much more expensive and it's not viable for a company to be producing that, or what was your guys' direction for?
Well, as far as Corvettes go, we just never got in that market because it was already flooded.
Yeah.
There at one point in time there was probably half a dozen or more Corvette interior companies, and now they've narrowed down to just a couple, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
But we had a leather division called Roadwire, and they manufactured, the Roadwire side manufactured leather for the newer Corvettes, but that they sold that company off about a year ago, and it just kind of went to the wayside with that company. But as far as other things, the main reason we don't manufacture leather for the factory seats, for say the 60s muscle cars, is because the majority of those have heat sealed inserts, and you can't heat seal leather because it melts and burns. Just think of leather as a cow's hide.
Yeah.
So what happens when you try to put heat to your arm, your skin, it just melts. It's no different. No different.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
that makes sense. That kind of explain that. For you?
Yeah. It's the backstory, the stuff that we don't get to see, right? So very interesting.
Most people they don't understand how heat seals work. They don't understand how RF toolings work, and that's a huge process. I mean, we have multiple machines that heat seal things as small as say sun visors, or as big as say an interior quarter panel for a early Bronco. Interior quarter panel for early Bronco, it's as big as your desktop. I mean, it's a monster.
Yeah.
So.
That's really cool.
Yeah. If you're building parts, let's say like for a 60s Mustang or so, is it hard to get like say individual for like Shelby version, like specific limited edition runs, like trying to make products for that?
So with the products that we manufacture, fortunately on most of your Shelby cars, they didn't really change the interior.
Yeah.
They would 60, I think it was 68, they had what's called deluxe / Shelby interior, and it has a different insert inside of it, which is a comfort weave insert. So as far as that go, we do what we call a flow mold process, where say the outside area of the seat is in red, and then the insert would be the same color material, but it has a different grain in it. So we'll flow mold that in-house. It's a machine that you take a sheet of vinyl that has, say, Sierra grain in it, because that's what the outside seat was made from, and you put it in this. It's like a little mini oven almost, and it has a press in it. You heat it up, and once it gets to a certain temperature, you lose all the memory in the vinyl, and then you press this new grain into it, and then we manufacture that in house, so we don't have to buy large rolls of it. It saves us money in the long run.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that's really pretty fascinating. A little back look into how it's made. That's crazy. Very cool stuff. Couple more things before we let you go. We're coming up almost to an hour. Wanted to ask you about what 3 cars, and I sent you this, that way you had a little bit of time to work on it in your head, are on your I would really like to drive it someday list.
So I had to think about this long and hard. This was really,
that's a tough
and
question.
It was to narrow down to 3.
Yeah.
I think probably the one that I would like to drive, man, this is a weird one out of nowhere, is probably the SoCal belly tank, only if I could drive it at the Bonneville Salt Flats.
That'd be cool. That'd be actually really cool.
SoCal belly tank?
Yeah, you need to Google that. It's a belly tank off of a World War II aircraft. It's a fuel cell tank off the wing of a World War II bomber, and they used to turn them into salt flat racers back in the 40s and early 50s.
I seem to recall. Now, was it 2-wheel, or did they go ahead and make it into a 4-wheel? Okay.
It's 4-wheel. It's actually powered by a flathead Ford originally.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we got a picture of it pulled up. Oh, it looks like a Formula Ford open wheel race car.
Yeah, sort of, but you get inside of it.
Yeah. No, that's really cool.
You're in it, basically. Yeah.
That is a great call. That is a really good one. That's not something most people are going to come up with. That's pretty
and I would like to drive a trophy truck in the desert.
Yes.
There you go.
That was on my top 5 list.
Do that, right? There's a program where you can go to Ensenada and run the same course as the Baja, and you can just pay. It's expensive, but I've got a buddy. He
Bucket
picked
list.
crews for one of those groups.
I'm in.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm in. I don't care what it costs. I'm doing it.
We'll have to do an episode special on that. That'd be really cool.
Bucket list item
I
for
didn't know
Jeremy
what
for
a trophy
sure.
truck was until I saw Jesse James in a trophy truck one time. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So you've got a buddy that does that pit crews, you said?
He does it twice a year. Actually, he does it once a year for BF Goodrich when they run the Baja 1000.
That's
And
awesome.
it runs for Ensenada. It literally runs about 5 miles from where our plant's at in Mexico.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool. All right.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
two.
two.
One more.
I'm mixed on the third. Well, I'm not really mixed.
You can give us two.
I was looking for these really fast cars, and I like the Hennessy Venom F5. Pretty cool car, but probably the one that I want to do the worst would probably be a 66 or 67 Corvette with a 427 and a 4-speed.
All right.
Very good.
I like it.
That'd be good.
Yep. Where would you want to drive that? You want to put it on a track or you just want to take it for a drive?
I want to be in Arizona. I want to be somewhere out in Arizona where there's no speed limit sign.
Yep. Just flat out, straight away, and go.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
See jackrabbits on the side of the road. Like, could you see that go by?
You're skinning them as you drive by 'em, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Blowing the fur off.
That's cool. All right. One other question that we ask everybody. What car is a hard no for you?
1 year or just a car?
Well, I'll let you choose. Typically, people just choose a model or something like that. But, what do you got in mind?
There's so many that would be a hard no for me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're very particular. I like it.
I am, unfortunately. I don't really do the bubble cars like a Gremlin, a Pinto.
Okay.
I don't do those cars. People want to put big motors in them, call them cool, but they're never cool.
Nice.
I don't do 74 to 78 Mustang 2s. I don't really do a Mustang Pass. I don't really do Fox body Mustangs either. I know that's a big push right now, but I just never liked them from a kid.
Yeah,
So
they're trying to come back around.
I'm going to say Fox body Mustang is probably a hard no for me.
Hard. no.
Okay.
Even super modified. Say it's got a LS motor in it.
Well, that's the part thing about it. But,
Yeah. That's awesome.
I told a buddy of mine, the only thing a Fox body is good for is a small block conversion. So
That's true. That's true. I'm a Mustang guy, and I know that's how you make it faster.
that's absolutely they make great race cars. They
Yeah.
make really good.
Yep. No, that's really cool. Well, Chris, I really appreciate your time tonight. We're just after the hour, and man, you've given us all kinds of things to think about. I would really like to catch up with you, if nothing else, just to say hi when we're down there at the show. If that works out, that'd be great. And again, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
I'll have plenty of time for you guys. Just let me know. No
Will
problem.
do.
You got my
Yep, I got
Yeah.
your number. I'll shoot you a text, and
We'll come look you up.
we'll find you.
thanks, gentlemen. It's
Thank
been a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thanks.
All
Chris.
right, take care.
Bye.
Too.
That was really cool.
That
Hey.
was cool.
That dude's got so much background in the automotive industry. I can't even scratch the surface.
Yeah, I feel like if he was sitting in studio, it would take 3 shows.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just probably I just need to get to know him a little better so I know what questions to ask him to really dig into.
Oh, yeah.
He's been around cars forever and done some really cool stuff.
Maybe we can get him into a mini show at SEMA with us.
I don't know how we're going to do that, but
Just saying.
okay. If it worked out, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome.
That was cool.
And again, Chris, if you're listening back, thank you very much. So
Thank you.
good. So
Yeah,
good.
thanks for your time.
Yep. So let's move on a little bit. And Jeremy, welcome back.
Yeah.
2 weeks
thanks,
off,
guys.
bro.
Oh man, no, 3.
3
it
weeks.
3?
Yeah.
It was
Well, I
3.
was gone for 2 to Alaska,
right.
and then last week.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had Don and Derek last week.
So
Yeah, give us a little Alaska update.
okay, there's a lot.
The sky's blue up there.
The Bronco,
No, it's
actually,
gray.
the
It
sky
just
was
rains.
gray and it rained about 90% of the time I was there.
Oh, really?
I did get about 3 good days.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, in the 2 weeks, I got about 3 good days. The day I finished building the deck,
Yeah.
it rained sideways. I'm pretty sure my butthole got wet.
Ooh.
And
That's a visual nobody needs.
well, yeah.
Just move on. Just let that go.
We're gonna let that just
Let that go.
marinate.
Yep.
So after about the 4th day of working on the truck that's up there,
Because you originally were going to work at the Bronco.
Yeah, let's specify.
so we have a 2005 F-250 up there. Last year ran great, no problems. This year took a little bit to get it fired up.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a big deal. It just the 2 batteries needed to be charged up, and it fired up, and then it wouldn't go into gear. So I fiddled with that for 2 days. Finally went and bought a part.
No. After the second day, you called your Ford mechanic.
Hold on. Now, whatever you told me to do fucked it up worse.
So the Ford mechanic guy.
So I went and bought a part because we did some research online.
Okay.
And installed this part, and it was supposed to, I don't even remember what it was right now, but it was supposed to help it go into gear.
Now, hang on. For clarity, is it a manual or an automatic?
It's an automatic.
Okay. And it wouldn't shift?
It wouldn't even try to shift out of park.
So is it a column?
Yeah.
It is
Would
a
it
column.
not, you couldn't physically move it?
Physically,
Okay.
you couldn't pull it in to
Gotcha.
pull it down.
Gotcha.
So I think it was locked.
Gotcha.
So we bought the part that was supposed to, tell it to unlock. That didn't work. Got it all put back together, and then it wouldn't fire up.
Oh, geez.
So I fiddled with that a couple more days, basically pulled it all back apart, looked at it again, put the old part back in. That didn't help. And like I said, after about the 4th day of fiddling with it, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to buy a new car and bring it up here.
No. Just gave up on her.
Yeah.
You gave up for now.
No, I think we're only up there for a week or 2 every year.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time.
It doesn't make sense to keep something that's not going to be reliable while we're there.
Yeah.
So, I think what we're going to end up doing is I'll take a little Toyota pickup or a little Subaru car up there, just to be able to go to and from the gas or the grocery store and stuff like that.
Yep. So let me ask you a question too about the truck. Does it get to be parked inside, or is it a weather?
No, it
sits in the
weathered.
weather. So
Ooh,
no matter
that's
what
rough.
you take up there, it's going to be.
Yeah.
So it gets
But-
into snow and the ice literally when it.
We're talking about building a lean-to for the boat and the whatever we buy.
Try and get it out of the weather a little bit.
Yeah, at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that we don't want to cover it with a tarp, because covering stuff with a tarp in the snow ends up molding it.
Yeah.
So we don't want to do that. There is potential that we could build a long single car garage or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all up in the air right now.
Okay. Anyway, that answered that question.
So basically it hindered my working on the boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
About the 5th day, I decided it's time to work on the boat. So I did get in there. I got some pre-pictures. I forgot to take the post pictures, but I gutted the wiring.
Oh, really?
Gutted it. The only things I didn't remove wiring for were the gauges and the ignition.
Okay.
I removed the fuse block. I totally removed the old fuse block and put a new one in. The 2 4-gauge wires that go from the battery up to the fuse block, put brand new ones in, because the old red one was faded so bad it was white. They were corroded. It was awful. So rewired that. Rewired all the stereo, the speakers,
Important stuff.
all the important stuff. The marine radio got brand new wires.
Well, that is important.
Yeah.
Depth finder, all of that got
Do you have to go into town to get all those supplies, or do you have it already mailed up to you?
I shipped all that stuff via
Okay.
Amazon
Okay.
before I went up there. Now, your Amazon 2-day delivery is not the same up there. So
Gosh, no.
I made sure everything was going to be there a month before I went up.
Did it all get there?
It all got there.
Good.
Lucky for me, there was already a bunch of stuff up there.
Yeah.
So the bigger wire, all that stuff was already up there. And actually, there's a big box full of stuff. So if I need to do it again, it's all there.
Nice.
I did get it rewired. It all works.
That's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of talked to the wife about it, and I think we're going to end up selling it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
something a little newer.
Hey, but it works now. So.
Yeah, it works now.
Yeah.
All the stuff, we didn't get a chance to drop it in the water and actually test the depth finder, but,
Yeah.
the marine radio came on, and I actually
Wait a minute. You did all that work and never put it in the water?
never put it in the water. The truck that I was going to tow it to the water with shit the bed.
Jeez Louise.
So you're saying you found the Ford on the road dead?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Ford in the driveway dead, but yeah.
So, yeah, never ended up getting
Damn.
it down to the water.
I was hoping there was fresh fish in line and everything.
Now,
Ooh.
I did get some fresh fish.
Right.
Okay.
My wife's cousin and I and another kid went and did 30 minutes of fishing
Yeah.
and had 15 salmon on the bank.
Ooh, fishing off the bank even.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. The rivers were running so hard
Nice.
that, I mean, you basically throw a hook in there with some color on it and they're biting.
That's
Dang.
So,
Wow.
15, we had 15 fish. We had it smoked.
awesome.
So I have some,
So good.
some
Smoked salmon
smoked
is
salmon.
amazing. Yep.
yeah, one of our friends up there did it for us.
Nice.
And then while we were there at the river, I think we saw 5 black bears.
Oh, wow.
So
See, they're fishing too.
yeah,
Yeah.
one downriver, 4 upriver, and we ended up running into a bear hunter and guide,
Oh,
and we're like, yeah,
they're that way.
500 feet up the river, there's
There they
4
are.
of them,
Yeah.
and they're all fishing, and we were within 10 feet of them before we knew they were there.
Oh, yeah. That's scary.
So
Yeah.
that was
Well,
that was
black bears you don't
interesting.
need to
The
be scared-
wilderness.
scared about.
Well, no, I suppose not unless you.
They ain't moving from their spot if they're fishing.
Right.
True.
If you walk through there, you better
putting
be
on the-
careful.
They're putting on the weight for winter,
Yeah.
for hibernating.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, Bronco.
Bronco. Yeah, that's the other update.
I went and looked at the Bronco.
The best laid plans.
So the Bronco is not whose I thought it was.
Right.
It's actually Mariah's uncle's. So it's parked down on the end of his property. He actually never came out of the house while we were up there.
Oh, wow. So
Interesting.
I never
it's
saw him.
still parked there. And
It is still parked there.
no idea.
It's his,
Yeah.
and I will refuse to buy it from him.
Gotcha.
He will want gold for shit.
Yeah.
So,
You should mention to him that you could buy full new Bronco bodies right now.
It's all right. We had a technical glitch, but we're
all right, technical glitch. We were talking about a Bronco,
You were talking about the next
Toyota.
and then Toyota.
Yes.
Yeah, the
So-
Toyota you found down the street.
We did find one 86 Toyota pickup, probably about the $500 price mark.
I like the price.
Which is,
Yeah.
you can't find those trucks for that cheap anymore.
Well,
you can't find them at all anyway.
Remember, this is on the island, and
Yeah.
finding parts up there, getting parts up there is insane.
Yeah.
So everything that I'm going to get, or that if I bought it,
Yeah.
everything would have to be shipped up.
But it's also a Toyota, especially those ones that are made of metal. You can bend and make and whatever on those things, and they'll
I mean,
survive.
it doesn't have to. Yeah, it doesn't have to look perfect.
Some of it can probably be
fabricated.
pulled out with a backhoe
Yep.
and beat back into place.
Yep.
You were saying the front
Yeah.
cross member is bent or something.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that one.
What do they call that? The radiator,
Core support.
core support
Yep.
bracket is bent. And I think the hood was in okay shape, a little bent, but not awful.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was interesting. So in 85, about halfway through the year, they went to a 22RE, which is the electronic fuel injection.
Yes.
So this is an 86. It has the independent front suspension, but it has a 22R, which is the carbureted one.
Carbureted one. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I thought in 86 they had gone fully to EFI, but apparently they didn't.
Could it have come from, say, Canada or something like that, to where
Potentially. Yeah, there is the
haven't
potential
gone.
that it came out of Canada.
They
Gotcha.
did make from Canada the same years. You can get a diesel motor for that. You couldn't get them in America.
that would be so cool?
That'd be really
that
cool
would
to
be
have
cool.
one because those trucks, and Top Gear showed,
Yeah.
those trucks can last forever with a diesel.
Yeah. So
Yeah, your running gear would outlast everything else.
Yeah.
we were kind of talking about what we would want to take up there
Grant?
because it's going to have to sit for long periods of time.
Oh, the not Grant.
Yeah. Nope. That one would hang itself. No, we were talking about what we'd want to take up there as our next vehicle because, wife gave the F-250 away.
Yeah.
She gave it to her cousin. Was like,
Yeah.
if you can fix it, I'll send the title to you.
There you go.
So we were kicking the idea of a Subaru Forester, Toyota pickup, stuff like that. A Hilux is not off the table.
The Toyota?
Yes,
Like a new one or like an older one?
old one. And if
Yeah.
I could find one, it would be diesel.
If you can import one from Canada with a diesel, like we're just saying, those are indestructible trucks.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely not off the table. The other thing that's not off the table is one of those, that flat nose thing that we saw. What the hell are those called?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking
he's
about.
talking about like
I
the coolest thing I saw this week from 2 or 3 episodes ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably 5
MRAC or
6
something like that.
episodes ago. Yeah. So I know Subaru and Toyota and a bunch of companies make them. They're the smaller cab over trucks.
Yeah, it's like a little utility truck.
That's right.
I
So
don't remember what they call those things, but yeah.
that thing might be on the table too.
That'd be cool.
I know I've been seeing some of those for about the $6,000.
You need one of those four-wheel drive vans. One of those.
Toyota one,
Toyota.
or a F350 or E350, I guess.
Well, I wasn't thinking of the full size. I was thinking of the smaller ones. Mitsubishi used to make one. It was like a Safari off-road version van.
Toyota made them.
Yeah.
Currently, Mercedes still makes them too.
Yeah.
Well, those are the. Are you talking about the big ones?
You're talking
Yeah.
about full size though.
Yeah, I was just talking about the smaller.
He's talking like even smaller than like, what do they call those? The minivans.
Kind of a minivan size,
Yeah.
almost the size
van.
of the Volkswagen bus, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they were a little bit lifted, came with like 32-inch tires and four-wheel drive.
Did they ever make a 4-wheel Volkswagen bus?
They do. Yes.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Really?
I know they were newer though. And
Like the 70s, 80s style?
no, newer, like 90s.
Newer.
Oh, the Eurovans then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the Eurovans.
Off-road capable or not really?
I don't know about off-road capable, but snow capable.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And most of what's up there there's 8 miles of gravel
Yeah.
that we'd have to drive on, but they're bidding that last 8 miles out this year.
Is your eventual plan to move up there though? So
Not
year-round?
full-time.
Not full time.
Not full-time.
Okay, so
I can-
snow is not necessarily
No.
a requirement.
No, a little two-wheel drive, something or other,
That would be just fine.
would be fine.
Really? Okay.
Four-wheel drive might be better,
Yeah.
just because there's some areas I want to go
Yeah.
and check out and like camp.
Yeah.
and the
Get
van.
carried away by mosquitoes.
Yeah,
The cool stuff.
We'll talk about that too.
Yeah. They're pterodactyl-sized mosquitoes.
That little van would probably be perfect. If
Yeah,
it was
that'd be cool,
four-wheel
right?
drive. Yeah, because I could actually stay in that, and if
Right.
I had a little bit of power, I'd
Yeah, they had, and in fact, maybe we should look that up, but I think the Mitsubishi one did come with a diesel.
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
It was diesel
And it was-
4x4, wasn't it?
It was
Yeah.
diesel 4x4, and
Yeah,
I
put a-
think they had a camper conversion for it and the whole thing.
Put a roof rack right on the top
Yep.
of that, so I could put two
Yep.
5-gallon diesel cans up there. And
So would you rather have the diesel, or I know this for a fact, Toyota also made a 4-wheel drive van,
in gas,
but it
yeah.
was a V12.
Oh, really?
I don't know about a
V12.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah,
no,
that sounds like a
listen,
pain in the ass,
it's got to
but
be
kinda cool.
something relatively easy to get parts for.
Yeah, you got to be able to maintain it.
Yeah. One of the things that I heard, a lot of people up there really like the Fords. The Ford, like F-150s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, Dodge basically falls apart.
Really?
Especially on the front ends.
Build quality is not the highest on the Dodge. That's why they're
But you get the Cummins.
that's why they're 15 to 20% cheaper than a Ford.
Yeah, and maybe that's why, yeah. Chevys last better than the Dodge, but still kind of on the lower end.
That surprises me a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought Ford and Chevy build quality was pretty close. To the same.
Yeah, they are pretty close, but the Fords are a little bit longer. And I'm trying to remember, a lot of people actually drive Subarus up there.
That's surprising.
Yeah, a lot of
Not to me. It's
there's a lot-
all-wheel drive wonder.
No, I
Yeah.
get that, but I assume the roads aren't in the best conditions and stuff up there.
Well, pothole. The last
Yeah.
8 miles is a potholed
Yeah.
gravel road.
Yeah.
Like,
I can understand maybe the SUVs, but not like an Outback.
Yeah.
The cars. I can't
there's
see it.
Outbacks
Yeah.
and
Really?
Foresters are the ones that I saw up there.
Well, they're affordable too.
Yeah,
Like you can buy a brand new one of those.
for like 30 grand.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
Take
then
it
you
up
got
there,
to
it's
deal with the
all-wheel
head
drive.
gasket problem, and then you're on an island.
The
Be like,
newer
where am I
ones-
getting
But if
it?
it's brand new, it's got warranty.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
new
take it to the nearest Subaru dealership up there.
Right?
in Seattle
Up there.
Yeah, exactly.
or Anchorage. Maybe.
Anchorage. It's in Anchorage.
I don't think that's closer than Seattle.
Yeah, really?
Not from where we were. No.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
No, the island we're on
Take it to Canada somewhere.
is just north of Vancouver Island. So
Okay.
it's up there, but it's not like
yeah,
we're
it's
not going
not
to the way far north Alaska.
Yeah, it's not even Anchorage.
Yeah. No, not even
But it's remote.
to
I
Juneau.
mean, getting to it is still
Yes.
tough.
You have to take a ferry or a plane to get there.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, it's remote.
Yeah.
And once you get to the island, it's an hour and 40 minutes to get from the airport to the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
I mean, reliability for a vehicle up there is kind of paramount.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But if you think about Subaru, though, the parts are small. You can ship them.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, a Corvette up there
Oh, God.
would be epic.
Jeremy, I got
Four-wheel drive Corvette. One of those lifted,
Right.
put on a K5 frame.
For real.
Yeah.
It would be epic, and here's why. We drove the hour and 30 minutes from camp to the turnoff for the grocery store and,
Okay.
and airport and all that.
Okay.
We saw one car
Yeah.
the entire time.
Yeah.
One car on that highway.
Oh, wow.
That's not a place you want to break down.
No. And if you do,
So why would a Corvette be a good car up there?
oh, dude.
Just
You
because
could
you're not
just
seeing
catch
anybody?
You could
pajamas.
fucking send it.
Go as fast as you want until you hit a moose.
Yeah.
No moose on the island, but you might
bear.
hit a deer or a bear.
Yeah.
There's no black. So it's black bears and white-tailed deer.
Okay.
There's no brown bears on that island. There's no moose on the island. There's no elk on the island.
Okay.
Lots of
can
smaller
swim.
stuff though.
Yeah.
Wolves.
Plenty of
There are
stuff
wolves
that
up there.
fucking hurt you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, a little deer will
Oh, man.
demolish your car.
Absolutely.
But
Go ahead.
Jeremy, I got a task for you next time you're up there.
you're coming with me next time.
Okay, well, we'll have a task up there. I want to see if we can find what is the most unreliable car we still see on there that's running.
That's
Like
running.
in a parking lot, or
Yeah.
something that someone's got. Say they got like a Fiat there or like a
You're not going to find a
Gremlin
Fiat
or
up there.
I'm just saying, Whatever we find, like the most ridiculous thing.
What do you envision that being?
The most ridiculous thing.
PT Cruiser.
Oh, it's possible. I could see that.
No, God, I don't know if I've seen too
Prius.
many cars up there. I mean, there's some Subarus,
Mostly trucks.
Toyota cars, a lot of trucks.
Yeah.
Probably 90% of the cars up there are trucks.
Yeah.
6.0 trucks. That's
Lots
probably
of
maybe the
Subaru
most
Foresters.
unreliable thing.
Yeah.
That's what the 05 was, right? And that's
Yeah.
part of the issue was we had ring blow by.
Yeah.
God, what would be Mitsubishi pickups? Lots of vans.
Like minivans or
Not too many minivans, more full size and like the newer Ford
E150
Transit vans.
Oh, the Transits, really?
Yeah, I saw a couple of those while I was up there.
You know, I bet you we're going to go up there and we're going to just start looking around trying to find the most unreliable vehicle. And I'd be like, hey, Jeremy, what's that? Because, you know, my ADD brain will spot the thing in the distance. He'd be like, oh, that's the old whatever someone left for us. And I'll go up to him like, this is a Bentley. What is this doing here?
Yeah, you're not going to see that up there.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably not.
Probably not going to see too many sports cars, muscle cars.
No.
You might see a muscle car out there.
That'd be ridiculous.
It'd probably be like an 80s Camaro or
Why
something.
even drag that up there to begin with?
Right.
Yeah.
Motorcycles. There are some motorcycles on the island.
Oh,
Depending on what kind of bike, I could see that as a actually pretty smart choice because you can go anywhere.
I saw a
Reliability is pretty high.
Like a
Gas mileage is
W200.
pretty high.
dude- yeah.
like those Yamaha on
My wife's cousin rode a Harley up from
Oh, yeah?
one camp up to the other camp with
Yeah.
his dog on the gas tank.
That's not exactly the best choice, but I mean, you know,
Right.
dual sport bikes, stuff like that. Dual
and
sports would be the way to go.
That's
Yeah.
not off the table either.
No, I think that would be a smart choice.
Here's the problem with
You
that.
just can't haul
Yeah.
anything.
And even going to the grocery store,
Yeah.
you're going to have to pick and choose what you decide to take.
Oh, it's
So we get a
backpack.
side bike with it or side cart.
What?
You're not going to want one of those up there.
Trailer.
Maybe a trailer.
Yeah, you can do trailers
probably,
on those.
Probably hard side saddlebags
Yes, that'd be the best.
and the top
You can
one.
fit quite a bit in those things.
Yeah. But are you going to be able to get a week's worth of groceries for two in one?
Man, it would be close. Depending on what size of saddlebags you get.
Yeah, and if you throw a gallon or 2 gallons of milk in, I mean,
Don't drink milk; it's bad for you anyway.
true. True.
I mean, I was just saying, you know, as a general get around vehicle, a bike would be great up there.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
maybe not best for your scenario.
Yeah.
but
It's not off the table.
it's not off the table. Though.
It'd be good for like a.
You know
like a
what you
light
do
travel.
is you get two of them,
Yeah.
so both of you ride into town with your saddlebags.
Yeah.
Then you can have enough to get food.
That's
would
not
work.
off the table.
Yeah.
That would work. That'd be kind of fun too.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
for sure.
That way, when someone hits the moose, they have someone to rescue the moose.
that's right. The moose. You're not rescuing the person. You're rescuing the moose.
Oh, God, you died. The moose is okay, though.
Moose. Yeah.
It's like Bollico, let's go.
I got him. I got him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, terrible. Absolutely terrible. Do you guys want to talk about what we want to see at SEMA?
Yes. Okay. I got a question.
Yes.
I know I've been doing this.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have done it yet, and Chris did mention it in the interview. Have you guys opened the SEMA
app.
website
Yes.
and started selecting what you wanted to go see?
I have not selected,
Yeah.
but I have done a fair bit of browsing,
Okay.
and I do have the app on my phone.
Good.
I downloaded the app. I haven't been drawn to any of the seminars, quote unquote seminars.
Yeah, I'm kind of not.
I saw
either.
someone I liked.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to regret that, but right now I just want to see the build competitions.
Yep.
The resto mod stuff. I want to see innovations for restoration projects. You know, all the stuff that Chris was talking about.
yeah.
I am so into that. That's my jam.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I did see that they're having the, what did they call it? Did I put it up there? I did not. Okay. I got it on my notebook, but they do a build contest with what do they call it?
Celebrity.
Well, they do that too. But just the general, I don't want to call them public, but it's the builders that come in, everybody is showcasing what they can do and that kind of stuff. So everybody takes on these special projects for SEMA. Anyway,
they do them in like the last month.
No, not this particular one.
Okay.
It said these guys, they have unlimited amount of time to work. They can start it like last year if they want to, and then bring it to this year's show.
Got it.
But they all do these builds, and they bring them in, and they do these competitions, and I don't know what all they're judged on, and different classing and all that stuff, I'm sure. But they had some pictures of some of the stuff that's going to be there this year, and I'm just like, holy crap, this is awesome. Nice. So I want to see all that. I want to see all the builds that are coming in, and all the innovation. And they do just crazy shit. Like it's above and beyond what I could do at home. Obviously, these guys are all pros, and they do it out of their shops because they're advertising for their shop and that kind of thing, right? And they're building 1,300 horsepower LS motors and putting them in C10s, and it's more than I want to do. But there's ideas there, and there's innovation, and there's like that stuff's really cool. That's what I'm interested in. I really want to just go and really spend time looking at those things. And obviously, I'm going to get ideas for my own builds. I'm not going to spend that kind of money or be that crazy about it, but there's stuff that maybe I could pick up, dash clusters like Chris talked about, the gauge clusters that you can put in those cars, and what kind of interiors, and just all kinds of different ideas. So that's really what is calling me.
Yeah. So there's two things that I'm really excited about.
Okay.
Only two?
Well, I mean, there's more.
Okay.
But two that really stand out. One, right now I am super excited about tool storage. And I'm not talking about toolboxes.
Oh.
Toolboxes are cool. What I'm talking about is like the laser cutouts for your wrenches and stuff.
Oh, okay.
There are companies that are building, the stand-up thing for your sockets, so you can set your sockets onto these things, and they're magnetic, so they hold them in place.
Yeah.
There's actually a company that keeps popping up on my Instagram that is here in Sandy, Oregon.
Oh. What's it called?
That I want to go check out.
What's it called?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Okay.
I think it's called episode 30.
Maybe.
It could be. Yeah. I mean, if I can find it, I'll just stop by.
They're actually going to be at SEMA.
Nice.
And I've put them on my show plan.
Nice.
So I can swing by and talk to them, and that's
I like it.
Yeah, and so that's one of the things that I'm really excited about. The second thing is actually the contacts we're going to make.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm more excited about the contacts we're going to make than some of the things that we'll see and do while we're there.
Right.
Because,
yeah, I agree. Talking to the people is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
They are, like, so many people are so innovative, and they're obviously, they're excited about what they're doing, what they're building.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. I like to pick people's brains a little bit, and you just never know what comes out of those conversations.
Yeah. I really think we're going to be able to get a lot of material while we're there, and I think we're going to get a lot of contacts for more material later down the road.
Here's hoping, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to interject. It's called Battle of the Builders.
Battle of the Builders.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds cool.
Okay.
So, custom build competition.
Nice.
I knew I wrote it down, just couldn't remember it off the top of my head. Anyway, go ahead.
So the third thing I'm really excited about,
There's more than two.
even though I only had two, I'm actually really excited to see some of the innovations they've had in camper builds.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I know my buddy's bringing a couple campers from his shop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The custom camper, custom builds?
He does like old school truck restoration.
Okay.
A few trucks he's been doing this year has been older campers.
Nice.
From the 70s and 80s and restoring them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So the weirdest thing you might see in Alaska that still runs is probably some old military vehicle.
I thought you were saying an old man that's running.
Yeah, run, Forrest. Run.
It's probably a tank or something up there.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it. I want that.
They're using it as a skidder or yarder.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Clearing roads with a tank.
Yeah.
What do you got?
So I've been lacking. I haven't been looking at. So I've got reasons.
All that time you spend on social media.
I know.
The things
so
you could
well,
be
because
doing.
you guys know me. My thing is this: if I dive headfirst and really see what I want to do, we're gonna get like a 200-page. Be like, hey guys, this is exactly everything that needs to be done. How it goes through.
So
I'm
going to challenge you.
I'm
going to challenge you.
Hang on.
I'm going to hang on, but I'm going to challenge you.
Because I feel like the biggest thing is I know I'm going to be overwhelmed, and so I am getting my expectations of things I want to see. But if I go too specific, I feel like I'm just going to be like point A to B instead of just taking it all in.
Got you. Yeah.
And so like I'm like when me and Jeremy looked that one day at stuff and saw a blueprint and what was all there, that was good. But going in and finding the nitty gritty of like, okay, I'm going to this one because they just announced a new tool and I want to see this, and or like there's another project that someone's really working on and I've been following us on Instagram, and it's going to be too overwhelming, I think, for me.
Gotcha.
I think that's how you make it less overwhelming, though.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I don't know what your challenge was, but I have a thought.
If you go and pick a few things, I think it'll make it less overwhelming.
That's
so
what I
my
was gonna say,
challenge is I've gone through one room. I went through and picked all the things in one room that I wanted to see.
Yeah.
It took me 3 days here
to go
to
through.
figure out what I wanted to go see.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it today. 2,400 vendors.
Yes. So
that kind of blows my mind.
Exactly.
In perspective. You
Yeah,
know? I'm like,
2,400.
think about
insane.
this. If you spend 30 seconds at every booth.
Oh, you can't get through it.
No. That's
So I agree with Jeremy. You need to, and I had a thought while I was looking at it because it's separated out into 3 halls.
yes.
They're big.
Four halls. Because one hall
One's
has
double
an upstairs.
stacked.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. But and it's how many days? 5, 6, 7,
4 days.
4 days.
We're there for 4.
So
Well, I'm
we
there
could
for-
do a day per,
yes.
really.
Yes.
And I think that's probably a pretty good way to look at it. Like pick each hall, see what you want to see, and then.
But there's
wander
all
from
the side stuff too.
I know. I know. But that's why I'm saying if you go like you were, looked at one hall and said, well, these are the things that I want to see in there. Maybe there's only 10 things that you really want to focus on.
Yeah.
Make sure you see those 10 and then just wander.
Yes. Yes.
So
That was my plan.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say, not unspecifically, there's a lot of things I do want to see at SEMA.
Okay.
And it's kind of the opposite. The builds are going to be cool, but my thing for me going to see that I'm looking more forward to is, like Jeremy was saying, the contacts. A lot of people and meeting people in the industry and meeting like people either seen online or some friends that I know are going to be there.
Yeah.
But also just like people I've never met that have got interesting stories and have like, can teach me things. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm also looking forward to seeing new innovation and technology, things that we haven't seen either as a general public or just be like, it may be that one shop that's at the corner that no one's talking about.
Right.
But you go there and it's the coolest thing. And it's like, why is no one's talking about this?
Yeah.
Right.
So for me, it's more of the taking in knowledge and information and the people is what I'm really looking forward to at SEMA.
Yeah. That's cool.
So other media outlets are going to be there.
Yes. Many.
I'm going to try to talk to as many of those people as possible.
I'm going to be passing out stickers like crazy.
And the reason I want to talk to those people is the learning experience. How do I take the show to the next level? How do I help do this?
Sure.
Can we collaborate with some of those other media outlets and do shows with them and come up with more content and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Along with that, how do we help you advertise as much as we need help advertising, right?
Yep. I'm not sure that our listeners really care too much about this in-depth conversation, but
they don't. But
I agree with you. Yeah, those things are definitely things that we need to focus on while we're there. As far as the listener that goes, though, like if there's something that you guys want to, and we've put this out there before, if there's something that you're curious about, maybe you've been, maybe you haven't been to SEMA, maybe you have a question like, what's it like? What do these builders actually do? Is there is there a behind the scenes? Not that we're going to be able to see it, but maybe we get some more information on that, and we can pass that along.
Or maybe there's like a product that's there that you want to know more information about,
Maybe
or
so.
a project that's been built and you want to ask the builder specific questions, but you haven't been able to get into contact.
Sure.
Let us know, and we'll see what we can do.
See what we can do. I wish Ian were here tonight, and I'm sorry that I didn't say something earlier at the top of the show, but Ian had to work late tonight and wasn't able to make it. But I'm curious about what he's interested in seeing, because he brings a whole nother perspective to our show that the three of us don't share, right? He's a different type of motorsport enthusiast, while we're all car enthusiasts, he sees stuff a little bit differently than we do, which I think is really cool. And yeah, I'm curious as to what he wants to see and what he wants to get out of the show as well. So I think that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we're gonna record some shows down there.
We are.
So
Probably daily.
yeah. I'm hoping to get at least 3 shows out of that.
Yeah.
While we're down there,
I
3 good shows, good content.
Yep. Yep. Hopefully. Hope so. I hope so.
And then
there was something else. Go ahead.
And then we're taking the portable recorder too. So
Yeah.
I'd like to take a couple of microphones and maybe a couple of short cables.
Yep.
And try to get some content from in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're allowed to do that because
We are.
we're audio.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's kind of what I want to see. Now, Jeremy, you said you kind of wanted to focus in on the truck stuff too.
Yes.
Like that's more your background. That's really
Yes.
what you drive towards and interested in. And like Chris said, I mean, I think he's talking more about the street rod trucks, the C10s and that kind of stuff. But I did see on my browsing today that there's a big off-road section.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there is.
The SEMA. And I would bet anytime we lose Jeremy, that's where we're going to find him.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably a whole day for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe even a day and a half.
Yep.
So
Like my buddy was talking about earlier, I believe it's a 78 Ford they're building, and it's got a Shelby 5.2 motor and it's supercharged onto that thing.
So you might end up having to bail me out of jail because I rubbed my penis on it.
I don't know. That might be legal down there. I'm not.
Maybe.
It is Vegas. So, I mean.
So we'll have Jeremy run to the trucks. We'll have me just kind of being sporadic, be like, ooh, shiny thing, shiny thing. What's Rob going to be doing?
I am
That's
going to be
like
looking at the resto mods and track day stuff.
Yep.
Innovations for track cars.
Safety equipment.
Yeah. There's going to be some of that for sure. I'm really curious because I know there's a lot of people out there that are building specifically for time attack.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a big part of SEMA. So I want to look at that. That's where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Hot rods and resto mods.
Ian's going to be there just reeling us all in. He's like, guys, come back.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe he'll be in the JDM LS swap section.
I'm not gonna lie. I like the JDM stuff.
Okay.
I'll be right there with him.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot to be learned there. Those guys, they know their shit.
I definitely know I'm going to be at the supercar section because there's a bunch of Lambos and Ferraris that are going to be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing the modifications they do to a car that's already $500,000.
It'll be interesting from my perspective for the modified Ferraris because coming from a Ferrari world, that's a major taboo. Especially,
Right.
Newer ones they're being modified, but the older ones,
Yes.
70s, 80s, whatever.
Right.
That one is if you're anywhere and been involved in that kind of world, most people want it original, low mileage. They want either a unique color or they want the color that was their poster car.
Yeah.
And when you're changing that and going like, say, there's a guy's taking a 308 and making a white wide body 308 with a K24 motor. It's very cool, but it is completely opposite what the Ferrari world would go with.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to those builds.
No, that'll be cool. Yeah. So much. I'm preparing myself to be overwhelmed.
Same.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'm not sure, again, listener probably doesn't care much about this, but I'm not sure even how to go about it. Like, do I take notes? Do I take notes on my phone? Do I do a voice recorder so I can remember this shit? How many pictures? How many thousands of pictures do I take?
How many hours of recording are you going to have to go back through?
I know.
Because you've gone,
It's insane.
okay, this, that.
Well, I think I would just do voice to text. It'd be way easier.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Can I ask a request from our listeners right now?
Yes.
For any of our listeners that have been to SEMA, can you give us some advice on what your first time was like, and if you were trying to take in the sights and see stuff and take notes.
How overwhelming
was that, and how did you conquer that, either on your first time or second time, or what kind of advice would you give for us on that one?
Right. UntitledCarProject@gmail.com.
Yep.
So, I mean, I've had a couple other thoughts on this too, right? So, there's so much to see.
Yep.
Half of me says I want to stay together as a 4-person group.
Right.
And half of me says let's split up into twos. Mm-hmm. 2 people go to this building and 2 people to go to this building.
Or even in the same.
I feel like you're doing that because you're going to be like, one of you has to babysit Grant.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get a tether. You know those?
I have one of those
bungee
backpacks.
tether. Yeah. Just like that. Here, strap this on Grant. Hook it to your belt loop.
I'm going to dog leash him.
Exactly. You'd be drug around the thing like a dog leash.
God damn it. I'm going to feel like I'm 6 years old again.
Yeah. I don't know about that either. I think we probably do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think there's things that we need to do together. Mm-hmm. Probably a lot in the resto mod area. Mm-hmm. And then
I think so, because that's a large part of our listening base, right? Yeah. Is our project car guys.
Yeah.
I think we need to focus on that. Always be thinking about project car guys. Yes, we need to see everything that we want to see.
Yeah.
But how can we relate that back to guys doing projects in their garage?
We're there not just for us, but we're also there because of our audience.
Exactly.
They helped us get
100%. Yep. And that's how I feel like we need to be able to bring that back to them and say, hey, listen, we saw some cool stuff that you can apply at home.
Yeah.
Either via work process, tooling, parts to put in your cars.
Storage.
Storage, all of it.
Storage is a huge issue in my garage.
Well, for all of us. You heard Chris say he ran out of room.
That's right.
He's a pack rat, just like every other car guy.
I just realized, I think episode 30 is going to be SEMA for us.
Yeah, probably.
We're
we're at 24.
Yeah, we're at 24, but we've got less than a month and a half until SEMA.
Over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
6 episodes. Wow.
So let's make sure that we do try to remember consciously to bring it all back to project.
Yeah.
Car guys, and that way our audience can focus on that.
Yep.
And we're talking directly to you guys.
Yes.
So I don't know how we can do it, but if
we're talking to Jimmy Galloway, we're talking
if we
to
can
Gene, we're
connect
talking
to Jimmy Galloway and say, hey, buddy, what do you need out of SEMA? What can I look for just for you? Let's switch gears away from SEMA just a little bit. We had talked about, I think this was Grant's. You might scroll that a little bit. What's our plan for the rest of the year? Now that autocross season is over, we're headed into the dark winter months.
Yeah.
What's our plans? Yeah. What are you got any goals for the rest of 24, either project related or not?
Project related, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really wanting to get that Lambo on all 4 wheels and driving.
Yeah, it's been a conversation for months now. So.
Yeah, and it's definitely because there's no other. I think there's one other autocross in sight for me.
When is that?
October with the BCA. Mm-hmm. Other than that, no. Weekends are more open for me, and this is typically in the winter is when I have 2 hobbies. I have racing and building cars, and my second one is going more indoors, which is Pokemon. Playing card stuff. But that being said, the other thing I do indoors is working on cars.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of that balance where it's like, okay, if I'm exhausted from wrenching, I can go do another hobby.
Sure.
Because I really feel like the winter months, being a car guy, you have to have something where if you aren't driving and aren't wrenching, you have to have that other hobby that just
recharge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give you a little rest from that.
Some guys do it's music, some guys do it's video games.
Yeah.
Some guys it's going out and doing hikes and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, it's snowboarding. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do in the winter.
Are we going snowboarding this year?
Are you going to go with me?
I will go with you once or twice.
Just once?
I was exhausted last time I went, but I got snow gear for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a snowboard. I will not probably go again.
Okay.
I might do
be the cheerleader at the bottom,
something like that.
You'll be in the lodge.
Yeah,
having some drinks.
I did that the last time Gage wanted to go. He wanted to do a lesson, so we bought him a lesson, and I drove him up there, and
Went and sat in the lodge.
All right. Well, this looks like good beer.
It is good beer. They have good beer there, for sure.
I will say so.
Yes, we can absolutely go snowboarding.
Nice. But on top of the Lambo that we talked about for a while, the ghost car I do want to get on.
Yes.
And that's, I've got some people I've talked to, or one other person that outside this group who knows about it and wants to donate a bunch of parts and help us with it.
Yep.
Nice.
And especially after last weekend with the car show I was at. Every year I go to that, it always reinvigorates my passion for my Fiat, and that's one I really want to get back on ASAP.
Yeah.
But I know I've got other projects that are pushing priority.
Yeah.
But I do want to give that some love this winter. And I'm positive I can get to the point where if I wanted to, the interior would be done and the front section would be done, and what would be left would be the rear and the running gear.
Yeah.
Which would be nice.
Do we need to give you some timelines? Would that help?
No.
Gave you a deadline for getting that Lambo.
We've tried
The reason I know
that Lambo
timelines
out of
the reason I know timelines are hard and don't work for me specifically is the industry I'm in for my normal day job is very labor intensive.
Yep.
Like this Monday, I was actually getting done with work, and I want to say reasonably, but I was after a 10-hour shift, and that's reasonable for me. I had time to work on the Lambo afterwards, and I'm like, I really just want to go home and sleep.
Yeah.
And it's getting tougher the older I get, because I was able to used to do that in previous years where it's like, okay, I'm done with it and just have my youthful energy keep going. And now, especially this summer, showed it. My only time to work on projects was on weekends.
Yeah.
I'd have to recharge and then have time to go down there.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's important. You got to recharge too. I totally get that.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel the same way. I've got a couple cars in my garage. I'm like, I just need to sleep. I'm freaking exhausted.
the big difference, I think, between you and me for projects, though, is so my shop is still a good distance away from my house, even though it's close.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
30
not
minutes from his
convenient.
house.
So I have to, if I go to my shop from my house,
Yeah.
it is a round trip, 45 minutes, about an hour drive total.
Right.
Which means if I'm already working, is there enough time to keep working, recharge, and then head home? Because that makes sense, I'm already there.
Right.
If not, I've got to dedicate the time for that, and I definitely want to make sure when I get there, I'm not picking up tools, I'm not cleaning up areas, I've got a game plan of what's going down, So it's kind of a process of be like, if I'm heading out there, this is what's going to work. And normal daytime work is not going to get in the way. We're like, hey, Grant, you're at the shop. Can you load up a truck for me, run equipment, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. It's a process for you for sure. So,
Yeah.
that's, I know that you personally will feel much better once that's off your plate.
Yeah.
And out of the garage, I kind of feel like you should just slap the thing back together and put a for sale sign on it.
That's what I'm trying to get to right now.
Yeah.
Because I think other than the ghost car project, the Fiat is one I really want to get some love to.
Yeah.
It's really sitting there. And then Liger needs to have some work done to her. And I think it's towards the spring I'm going to be doing that, and wishful wanting to work on her. Like, in terms of upgrades, I mean.
Okay.
She's fine to run as is, but we've talked about how we want to put vents in the back for the rear disc brakes, like ducts for it.
Yeah.
And, the Hoosiers, we've got the rims for that.
Right.
And in order to do that, I got to change all the suspension. But as a race car, she'll still run as is. And that will depend on how far we get in the ghost car. If the ghost car's more able, we're going to have that, and then that'll get more time for next year for work on the Liger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a process you need to work through. Yeah, for sure.
You probably need to prioritize.
I think
There's too many cars there that you can't not prioritize.
Yeah.
I agree. You got to figure out what you want done first and worst. First and worst.
First, I already know is the Lambo.
Yeah.
That's,
You got to free up that space.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of singing the blocks. I want to see it run again.
So you have talked about buying a house. I know this is going to sound crazy, but if you had a house where you could actually go home and work on things.
So I've thought about that. And my other big problem is I know if I buy a house probably the first year or two, it's going to be, again, a new territory for me. And I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time on the house.
But
Whether it's small things, whatever.
if you get the house that you want, there shouldn't be that much work needed.
Yeah. No thoughts, Rob?
Agreed. A little bit. It depends. Like, the housing market is such a vast
Oh, yeah.
suckhole. You could get a fixer-upper, which then you're going to burn all kinds of time actually fixer-uppering.
Yeah.
Or you get one that's move-in ready and you don't really need to mess with it.
Yeah.
But that comes at a premium as
Yeah.
well. So, and are you looking for something with a shop or at least a 3-car garage? How much workspace do you actually have or need or want?
And that's
and that's giant suckhole.
It's a whole different topic we can go on for another time.
Oh God, yeah. It's
because I've got a lot of input on but I think that we should save that maybe for next episode or something.
Oh yeah, whenever.
Yeah.
Maybe our project car guys could give a shit less about that too.
Well, it's yeah.
Well, I want to know
it affects them as well. Everybody has that decision to make at some point, right?
Yeah.
Where do you do your work, and
how do you
have it set up?
Are you in a single car garage and you're working out in the driveway, or
right?
Yeah, and then how do you justify for bigger
so
stuff?
Here's something that kind of plays into that. So Max, our guest from episode 7, Max Essig, he jumped on a challenge that we gave him to build that race truck, right?
Yes.
He said, I'm going to do it. Well, he came out and drove the thing this weekend. First time on track. Had a blast. Loved it. The car worked all weekend. The truck, I should say, the Ranger. And he was not sure it would make it through the weekend, but it did.
That's amazing.
Did fantastic, right?
Nice.
And he built that in his little garage shop-ish. I don't know how big his shop is. But we were talking about that and things that he wants to upgrade. Anyway, he got a lift to put in his shop. It doesn't fit. It's too tall.
Oh, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he's going to cut the legs off it?
Not sure what modification. We talked about a couple of different ways to, can you raise the roof a little bit? What do you got to do? This kind of, because it's like a half inch.
Wait, how? It's a half inch too tall?
Yeah.
Too tall?
Yeah.
Take a router to
I have
those
an idea.
4x4s.
Well, we have lots of ideas. But anyway, he was considering, maybe I'll just pour a pad out front of it and put it outside. I've seen it done a lot. A lot of people run their lifts outside. But then again, you're in the weather. You're in the weather. It precludes you from working on your car in the wintertime.
Yeah. That's not smart,
It's
in
not
my
good.
opinion,
I
because
agree.
So
if you're playing a ticking time bomb clock with how long until that car that's on the lift or it fails or catastrophic failure happens because of rust, weather, heat, cold.
It's a long fuse.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
How do you mount those?
What do you mean? The lift?
So the lift, it has to be bolted or concreted in somehow.
It's bolted to the concrete.
It's bolted to the concrete. What if he cut enough of the concrete out? He could sink it down an inch or a half inch or whatever and, make it deep enough so that it's heavy enough that he could mount to it.
Anything's possible.
Not have a problem.
That's probably a better option than putting it outside in my view.
Yeah. I mean, that's the direction I would look.
Right.
If you do that, though, do you have to get re-engineering specs for your structure of the shop?
Why would you?
Have it certified?
Shop
You don't have to have it done to begin with.
No.
He would have to go all the way through, because I don't know how thick his slab is, but say it's a 4-inch slab, that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
He would have to cut it all the way out and pour a deeper slab anchored in order to make sure that it was...
See, and I would, if I'm doing something like that, I'm going down a couple feet,
Yeah, I don't know the
if
specs
it's not
on that.
secured, if it's not secured to the rest of the concrete.
Right. Yeah. There's specs on how to do that and whatever, and I don't have those off the top of my head, but that would be an option for sure.
Yeah.
I would think. Lower it down. My other thought was, friggin', I'm tearing that fucking roof off.
Yeah.
And I'm building a little doghouse up there it's only a half an inch, man.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So, whatever.
What else is in the middle, though? Is there, does he have a garage door?
It's a vaulted
opener in the
roof.
way?
It didn't say. Yeah. Anyway, that's just one of those.
Yeah.
One of those things. The other option is sell the damn thing, get a shorter one.
That's true on that one.
True.
So, I don't know. That's things you look for in your new house. Do you
Yeah.
have room to put a lift? Is that an option for you? Which I was going to ask you about. You had talked about putting a lift in your shop.
Yeah.
Is that ever going to happen?
I don't know.
Every time I see a lift on Marketplace, I'm like, dude.
The old man just sent me one for a 30,000-pound rated lift.
Holy shit.
And I'm like,
what's that for?
For our trucks.
Well, I understand.
But I'm like, okay,
You want me to put it in?
yeah. And no answer was given.
Order it.
God.
Go to your sister. Stop talking to your dad.
Yeah.
Go talk to your sister. Tell her you need it.
That's whatever. All right.
What about you, Rob? What's some of the goals you're trying to get for this winter?
Yeah. Well, I do have things I absolutely need to get to, and I can't just sit on them this year. So I've got to put the motor back in the silver car and get that thing running. I've got all the stuff. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
And now that race season has concluded, I'm going to reorganize the shop and get the silver car on the main lift and work on that.
Nice.
Second thing I want to do is make the C3 run. So there's going to be some tearing into that. And I did put a battery in it the other day just to see if it would power anything up, and nothing came on.
Nothing at all?
Nothing at all. So I've got to look into fuse block, see where the power's going, see what's going on. There's a lot of corrosion and stuff in the wiring, so that's where I'm headed next with that.
If for some reason the engine's seized up, are you still going to try to push 350 in it or LS swap it?
I think, well, I do want to put a wrench on it and see if I can make it turn over.
Yeah, but if it doesn't,
right.
Do you have a plan B?
I think I'm going to use that motor. I think I'll just rebuild it.
Okay.
I don't want to go down the LS swap path right now, just because of cost. I'd rather put that money into the GMC.
Yeah, into the Viper.
So, yeah, in the Viper motor. And that's the other project. Now that one is not, I don't have plans to work on that one necessarily this year, but I will keep my eyes open for the proper motor. And if that comes along, I'll go down that path. But, but as far as things I'm going to work on will be those two cars. A little bit of work on my black car. Once the silver car motor is put back together, I'm going to take my black motor out and have that one rebuilt, take that one to the shop, have it rebuilt.
If you find the silver car is more exciting and that you're getting way better times with it, are you going to be exclusively racing that next year?
I may race that one next year exclusively, but at the end of the day, that is not my car.
Yeah.
So I'm still going to rebuild my black car. That one's going to be my time trial / autocross car anyway. So that'll be my main race car. But yeah, I would like to race the silver car next year. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then as far as a side project, I guess, I'm going to put a mezzanine in my shop to get some of my shelving storage off the shop floor.
What's a mezzanine? Is that a cup of noodles?
No.
Second level.
That's Nissan.
Oh.
It's like
Second level, like
it's like a
another floor.
deck inside inside a garage.
In the shop? Where would
Yeah.
you put it in the shop?
Up.
I'm imagining the shop.
You know where the TV and the refrigerator are, and there's a bunch of stacks of tires and some shelving over there?
Yeah, with the cool walls.
Up above that.
Up above that.
Okay.
Yep.
So we get rid of the cool walls?
Yes.
Okay.
But the other cool walls
Whatever
will be
you're
there.
talking about, whatever cool walls
No, I
are.
just remember like they were making posters and stuff all over the walls.
You can still poster the walls. You'd just be
Isn't there?
postering them
No.
up high.
There isn't
It's like a lot of color, I remember, on the walls.
insulation.
Maybe that, I don't know.
Anyway, so it'd be like the front corner.
What about the Honda?
Honda. Oh, well, that's up to Josh.
As long as
Okay.
he sends
Have you
parts.
talked to him about that project at all?
Yeah, he moved to Arizona, and that has really taken up a lot of his budget for car stuff right now.
Okay.
So once he recovers from that and kind of everything settles down in maybe 6-8 months, whatever, he'll start looking, buying parts and that kind of stuff. And I'm in no rush. It's parked underneath the awning in the back of my shop, and it's fine.
Okay.
And you've got other shit you want to work.
Oh, I got plenty of shit. I don't need that to deal with right now. And it's not, in front of him, nagging at him every day to do it. So it's fine where it's at.
Yeah. I'm in the opposite boat. I've got a friend of mine who has a 99 Mustang that races with us. And I know throughout the winter there's going to be times where he's going to come over and we're going to be wrenching on the thing.
Right.
And I'm trying to lean it so he wrenches more for himself.
Yes.
So it's less dependent on me, and he knows that there's jobs he can do, as well as, he can see the upgrades that he'll be putting in there. He'll see it throughout the upcoming year racing it.
It's going to be good for him too, though. He's going to learn a lot through that process of wrenching on it and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he'll have more intimate knowledge of what's going on in his car, which I think is really good for him.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I just got to make sure this winter that it doesn't distract me away from my main projects.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Well, those are going to be like when he comes over to work on that thing, those will be shorter turnaround projects, right?
Yeah.
Like you're going to have a timeline. We've got this weekend. We can work on it Saturday, Sunday, but you got to be done.
Yep.
So at least, it won't be long term. It will probably distract you a little bit, but at least not for weeks on end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think his hope is while he's out there working on it,
Yeah.
Grant can actually go and work on
His own thing.
his own stuff.
Right. And just kind of be there.
If he's needed, he
Right.
can step over and,
That's valid.
help out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm really going to start looking for what makes the most sense for me to drag up to Alaska
Yeah.
and figure out if I want to buy something to build or find something reliable. I kind of am leaning towards the mini cab over truck and doing some sort of project to one of those so that I have something up there that's kind of fucking epic.
But would you build it here and then send it up?
Yes.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
I would build it here, test it here, and then ferry it up.
I see a problem with that because I know when you build it, you're going to fall in love with it and you're literally going to be sending it away. So you'll love it when you have it up there, but that's probably
not wrong.
tough.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I think that would be hard to do. The build process, depending on, I guess, the condition of it when you buy it. But I think the good part of it would be what's in there.
Yeah.
And maybe what's prone to break so you can send extra parts and whatnot. Because you're going to want something reliable
Yes.
regardless
Yeah.
what you send up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would,
those will be factors when I pick out whatever it is.
Yeah.
what's your timeline?
It'll either be next year or the year after, so it could turn into a two-year timeline.
So you should start now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll be looking at those factors, right? What's reliable?
Yeah.
What do I want it to look like?
Yeah.
How do I want it to drive?
Yeah.
And how heavy duty should it be?
And I'm sure once we get back from SEMA, that's going to give you a whole new inspiration of even beyond what you're thinking now, what you want.
Oh, it could. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
100%.
I mean, you could think of something's unreliable until you go there and be like, I've just decided this engine because some guy told me and showed me that made it bulletproof, and now it's the most badass thing I need to have.
And you're 100% right. I could get something, build it to how I want it, drive it up there, and go, well, it ain't staying.
Yeah. And drive it right back home.
Bringing it back.
Yeah.
Well, and I keep threatening to drive up anyway.
Yeah.
Drive up and back because I want to take my dogs.
Yeah.
I don't want to go up there for 2 weeks and leave my dogs home.
Yeah. But then it also comes in the thing, if you just send up something that you're like, meh, that don't really love going up there, well, now every time you go up there, that's going to be the thing it's there, it's reliable, but it's like, it sucks driving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're there for 2 weeks, so
Right.
Like it's utilitarian at that point.
That's right.
Yeah.
It only needs to get me to the grocery store and
Get yourself an old Ford Courier pickup.
right. Or my thought was a 2-wheel drive Toyota at first.
Yeah. One of the old ones, like
Yeah.
a 70,
But
75, 78.
one of those little
Square body?
flat-nosed trucks.
Oh, I know. They're
Come
super
on,
cool.
man.
You want that here, though. You don't want that up there.
What about a high boy? Are you still interested in those?
Oh, I love the old high boys.
I
I don't want to send one up there to rust away though.
Okay.
Right,
I saw
yeah.
one on the side of the highway on the way up to the show this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sale.
This year or today or
Like last weekend.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll tell you more about it after the show.
No, I want to hear about it now.
No?
This is a project.
It was we were driving up going up
26.
Highway 20,
Oh,
and there was a high boy. I'm pretty sure it was a high boy. It wasn't too big, but it was definitely jacked up, but it had decent sized tires. But it was an older Ford, and it was sitting on the side of the for sale sign, looked like in decent shape.
what town?
Couldn't tell you. I'd have to look at the map
Yeah.
point, but it's like
Somewhere between here
it's
and there.
not.
was
going
on
over the
Highway
mountain.
20 though.
It's on Highway 20 towards the beginning where like you're getting off like I-5.
Oh, okay.
I think.
So before you hit 22, which is going up over,
Yeah, it's way before
Pass.
that. You're not even into where the river's at and stuff. So
I got an idea where that's at. I may have seen that parked on the side of the road.
you know what I'm
before.
talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of have a general idea. That would
think
be something
if
on
you
my
brought a
list.
high
My
boy
list-
up
On your
there.
list, also a shop to put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. That'll probably be in Arizona, though,
Good grief.
if I'm being honest.
All right. Well, sounds like you got some projects to figure out.
I do.
Keep us posted when you buy that.
Yeah.
Which one of them?
Which one of the 9?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Well, that kind of wraps that up for today. Anybody see anything good this week?
Yes.
What'd you see?
I was at a car show.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I noticed that you posted like 69 photos on the group
It
chat.
was 68. I didn't want to give the pleasure of 69.
No. I took the pleasure.
There was a lot of cool things. So for the listeners who don't know, my family and me attend an annual car show in Bend, Oregon. Used to be in Sun River for the Festival of Cars. I think we're on like we lost count, but it's like in the 23rd or 24th year going to the show. So we bring up a variety of cars. This year we brought up a 458, a Viper, and a Cobra, AC Cobra. And what the? I hear
It's a neighbor dog.
Oh, okay. That being said, this year there was a lot more interesting cars than there have been in previous years. I'd say of the recent previous years. One of the big ones we saw was a Mercedes McLaren SLR. And talking to the owner about that, It was a Roadster black. This was, for the listeners who don't know or may know, a Mercedes McLaren SLR is essentially the Halo car Mercedes in the mid 2000s, equivalent to like the Porsche Carrera GT or the Enzo Ferrari of the day.
Yeah.
It's a very distinct looking Mercedes powered by a V8, and just hearing the technology behind it with the owner telling us all about it was fascinating. Originally, the engine was placed far forward in a front engine completely. When McLaren got involved, because apparently the engine was already fully built by Mercedes. Well, McLaren's biggest thing was taking the engine and putting it far back and down lower.
Yeah.
And they also made it, I believe he's told us, that's when McLaren put the idea to make a dry sump system. So they got even further down lower than that.
Wow.
The exhaust come out the side from the car to right at the door, the front of the door. So very short exhaust.
Wow.
And at the same time, there is heat tunnels that go vertically from right from the headers up. And that's for the catalytic converters.
Huh.
And he said when you're sitting at a stoplight at idle, you literally it's weird because there's no air going through it. So you just see these plumes of heat coming from the hood.
Wow.
And the air just kind of forms around that.
Wow.
The entire car is carbon fiber. There's only, where did he say the metal was on that one? The latches for the hood. And I think it was, that's about it.
Probably inside the door latches too.
No, not even that. It was insane how much carbon fiber was on this car, but it was like two distinct points: was the latches and something else. He was telling us the brakes on, or not the brakes, the wheels on it. If you see a picture of it, they're very odd looking wheels, but they were specifically built for that car. And what they do is it actually sucks the hot air out of the brake calipers.
Oh, yeah.
And gives it to cool them down. So, as well as it's an automatic car. He said it was very interesting to drive that. I'm trying to remember. Very smooth, but it also is like very distinct when it's shifting through gears.
Yeah.
But so, anyways, enough right now. That was really cool seeing that. We saw a bunch of resto mod cars. One of the ones that won the show was a '55 Corvette resto mod. I thought it was a. I always saw the new Corvettes with the old bodies.
Right.
I thought it was one of those because the interior was completely done. It was widened. It had I think an LS motor into it. Very pretty looking car. On top of that, we saw, Packards and a lot of Lotuses. A lot of people started buying new Lotuses.
Wow.
And, oh, man.
Too much stuff to list.
Yeah, I mean, we got 68 photos to go
Yeah,
through.
yeah. No, we don't. We don't need it.
But a
that's
lot
really
of cool things.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's good. So you had a good time though.
Had a great time. This is one of the better years, and I know even the old man was happy on that. The one thing that me and my dad love about the show is it doesn't matter if we're in a bad mood, doesn't matter if work gets in the way. This is the one weekend that we will separate for each other.
Yeah.
And this will be our time.
Good.
You know.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
How about you, Jeremy? You see anything good?
Fishing boat.
Fishing boat.
Fishing
That
boat.
was a really cool fishing boat.
Yeah.
Twin motor, 250 Hondas, 30 foot, aluminum, just decked out, man. It actually had a maroon paint job.
Oh,
that
interesting.
I thought was gorgeous. And the seats had suspension.
Nice. Luxury fishing boat.
Yeah,
Nice.
The Cadillac of the seas.
that's right.
Beer cooler right between the seats.
I didn't see a beer cooler, but they did have 3 live fish wells. 1 bait and 2 for,
Yeah.
Was it outboard motor?
yeah,
How big are motors?
twin Honda 250s.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Thing would scoot on the water at 30 feet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm going to say the coolest thing I saw this week was Max's race truck.
Yeah.
He did a really good job. The
I'm
truck's
excited
looking
to
really
see
good.
Did you get to ride in it?
I did not. Oh. Yeah, no, I didn't. But we were always in the same run group.
Yeah.
Could have, but it just didn't work out the way it lined up.
So how did it run in the rain? Because it rained on you guys this weekend, right?
Yeah, Saturday it rained pretty good off and on. He did really good in the rain.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 2.3 liter. It's underpowered.
Yeah, but it's a pickup. Did the back end get really squirrel on him?
No,
Wow.
he slid it a little bit, but it was not. It's doesn't have a lot of get up and go.
Yeah.
What did he put in the bed to keep it from kicking out?
Sandbags.
No,
Nothing?
nothing.
Seriously?
Yep. Yeah.
We could put a hot tub
It's a
back there.
short wheelbase too.
Yeah.
It's the short bed with standard cab, so it's a small truck. But he did a good job with that build. He told me I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody he has, including purchase of the truck, $3,000 into it.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yep.
How was his times reflecting on that?
Slow.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he enjoyed himself. That's
He
what
had a
matters.
blast. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He was Sunday. I think he was like, I beat one person yesterday. I didn't get
Hell
last,
yeah.
man.
That's awesome.
And then we were looking at
It was probably Antonio.
No, Antonio wasn't last.
we were looking at it on that was Saturday, and then Sunday we were looking at it, and I was like, dude, if you pick up, I don't know, he had to drop a couple of seconds or something like that. If you could do that, you'll beat another Corvette. And he managed to squeak out another win. So
No way. He
Yeah.
beat a Corvette?
beat a Corvette.
Yes!
C7.
Go Ford!
So no, he had a blast. He will come back.
Does he have a solid axle on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Want to let him know when that BCA event is.
Okay.
So if we can figure out those dates,
Okay.
I'm sure he'd be into running that.
Yeah.
Yep.
As I was going to say, with the Rangers, I know you could put a Cobra independent suspension in the back of those things.
Oh,
And that'd be very interesting
that would be interesting.
having that in that truck.
Yeah.
You know,
I wonder if he would need to do some weight balancing if he had that in it.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, if you had a truck that lightweight with an independent on it and then a 4-banger with the turbo, I mean, you got yourself like a knockoff Mitsubishi right there.
Yeah. I don't know what his plans are motor-wise. He does want to do some more work to it this winter and that kind of stuff. So I don't know if he's going to buy a cheap turbo and slap it on there and see what happens there, or if he's going to find maybe a different motor, maybe the V6 option, the 3-liter.
Little Buick.
4-liter
V6 or something.
on those years.
Is it?
You can put a
Didn't
Buick
they have it?
V6 in
Didn't
it
they have a
and bolt
3-liter
right in.
too? Or am I thinking of something else? Because I thought there was a 3-liter option.
They came out with that. I think that was after, because that was in the Escapes, was the
Okay.
3-liter.
Yeah.
Beforehand, we had the 4-liter overhead valve, single overhead valve, and
Well, a 4-liter would be even better. So
Yeah.
that'd
Maybe
be
a
awesome.
3.8 liters.
Yeah.
Put that in there. Yeah.
yeah.
So
What year is
I'm
that truck?
Don't recall. I don't know.
Because Mercury,
Yeah.
the Mercury Cougar in
Yeah.
1990 had a 3.8
Yeah.
supercharged.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
shit.
the one that
Oh, that'd be
Antonio was
kinda cool.
looking at for his Mustang.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mhm. Even the 3.8 liter they made it in multiple cars, and it was for I think you're right. It was for the Mercury that came on.
Okay, Max, here you go. This is it.
But what's nuts is you can take the supercharger and all that off and put it onto any of those 3.8s.
Yeah.
So like the Mustang has like the most horsepower naturally aspirated out of them. So you could take that and swap it on there.
Yeah.
So
You have to be careful though if it has too much compression. But
yeah.
those Mercury Cougars with that 3.8, they were quick.
I think they made
that'd be fun.
240 horses, 250.
I don't know. I can tell you right now if you.
But that's with all
when you got
emissions and
into
everything else for it, though.
That'd be really fun.
If you turn the traction control off, it'll do a one block burnout.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom.
There you go, Max. Yeah, sorry, Mom. Sorry about those tires you had to replace so often. I don't know why they wore out.
Dad worked for Yokohama. It didn't matter.
Didn't matter.
He got one set of tires every year for $1.
Nice.
Wow.
Anyway, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So that was probably the coolest thing is to see that thing come to life. I mean, he did that build in 8 weeks, something like that.
That's crazy.
Maybe it was a little more than that.
Just so our listeners
12.
know, it was not just a Ranger. Like, he swapped the whole front end of a different
did.
Ranger onto that Ranger.
He did. The only thing that stayed was the cab.
Yeah.
The bed and everything got changed.
New bed, new front end. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. It's got the little step side bed on it,
Nice.
It's got a nice set of wheels and tires on it. He thinks they're maybe a little bit heavy, and it's like, yeah, but you got traction.
Yeah.
You put smaller ones on there, you're not going to have the traction in the corners.
What kind of tires was you running?
Just streets.
Okay. But that definitely helped out with the wet, though. with the
Absolutely.
rains.
Yeah. Helped
Now
out
it
a
needs
ton.
to start moving some weight toward the back and give
Yeah.
it some power.
Yep. Give it some power.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Super fun.
Good job, Max.
Yep. Good
Yeah,
job, Max.
good job.
I did get a short video clip, so I'll try to post that too.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
You good, dude.
So that's it. That's all I got this week. A lot of rambling, a lot of SEMA talk. Thanks again to Chris Compton. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you coming on the show. Look forward to seeing you at SEMA. Again, if any of the listeners got any questions about SEMA or something you think you might want us to look up while we're there, reach out. Let us know. UntitledCarProject@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star rating on our socials, if you would, and on our podcast.
Give us a like on YouTube.
Wherever you listen to it.
Yay.
And also Untitled Car Project on Facebook and the Facebook group and some other
Instagram, Discord.
random things.
Untitled Car Pro at Twitter.com.
How many people we got on Discord now?
4.
Is there 4?
Oh, never mind. 3.
I think it's 3.
Good job, guys.
Yep, good job. Good job. It's a running joke now. Nobody cares.
When does Jimmy Galloway join us on there?
Oh, Jimmy. Top Jimmy. We're just going to call him Top Jimmy from now on.
So we should make that the only place you can post anything Jurassic.
What?
Yeah, we should make it a JP channel on Discord. Yep. Untitled Car Project JP channel.
There we go.
Only place we can talk about Jurassic. The funny thing is, Chris knew what Jeep it was in Jurassic Park.
Yep.
That guy. Good job, Chris.
No, they're all square headlights.
Yep.
Yes! So good.
He actually caught it. So, as frustrated as I was to hear Jurassic Park come out of your mouth, Chris picked it up.
There we go.
Yep.
The movie that keeps on giving.
Oh my gosh.
All right, guys.
Everybody, thanks for listening. Tune in again next week. We're going to have another great guest coming.
Woo.
And that's it for Untitled Car Project for this week.
We'll catch you guys on the next one.
Can't wait to see you next week.
Bye.